If you're new to Victoria 3 and are wondering how exactly you should be running your country, then this is the video for you, because today I'm going to be explaining everything you need to know about Victoria 3. I'm going to teach you how to have a basic economy started from scratch and end up with literal billions of GDP. We're going to be playing as Japan because it is an isolated nation with a closed circuit economy, so if you're not managing your economy properly, you're going to literally die out, which is why if you learn how to play as Japan, any other country afterwards is going to be a piece of cake. If you learned something from today's video, don't forget to also subscribe. I'm also planning to make individual tutorials for every feature of Victoria 3, such as legislation, budget management, population. Let me know if you're interested in seeing that as individual smaller videos in the comment section below. And you can also use my link if you like to get Victoria 3 for yourself from the Paradox website. I do get a commission off of every purchase. And I promise I'm not going to spend all the money on drugs, women, and alcohol. As the Japanese, we start off with a decent 10 million GDP as well as 31 million population. So population wise, we're actually on par with the French and even above the British a little bit. However, we've got some massive issues in our country, including our politics are absolutely horrible. We've got some of the worst legislation imaginable. That's why I personally think that Japan is a great nation to learn how to play the game as, because it has a very challenging start. It is not one of the great powers, and learning how to pass these legislations and become a modern nation, as well as how to catch up with your technology, which is far behind everybody else, and your military and everything else, obviously your economy too. It will make you a better player, and it will make it easier whenever you're playing as other nations, considering that this is not the easiest of starts, that is for sure. Since we talked about our technology, let's go ahead and start by researching stock exchange. It's because we want to get that extra 10% market access price impact, and it also unlocks protectionism in the trade policy alongside free trade. Obviously, we start as an isolated nation, so we need to have some other options we can go down, open up our borders, and open up our ability to trade with other nations so we don't completely economically collapse. The second technology we're going to go for is romanticism. Why is that? Well, because it allows us to switch from traditionalism, the current economic system, to agrarianism, which is a million times better, considering that traditionalism also offers minus 15% market access price impact and minus 25% taxation capacity. Why is that bad? Well, market access price impact, to make it really simple to understand, directly affects the price in every single province. So we've got a general price for goods. For example, that would be 18 right now, the market price for grain. However, if you click on this particular good, you see that every single province has a different actual price. That's because the market price impact affects it. Having higher market access price impact means that the cost is going to be about the same everywhere. Having lower is going to be different based on where exactly we have that particular good produced in. So if we produce a lot of grain in Kanto, it's going to be cheaper than grain in Chugoku, which does not produce as much grain as Kanto does. Why is this also important? Well, because say for example, you want to be building in Kanto a steel mill. Steel is going to intake coal and iron as consumption goods in order to produce steel. If you have coal and iron in Kanto, then you're going to get zero debuff from the market access price impact because you're directly getting that good from the same province in which you're producing steel. However, because there's no coal in Kanto, you have to import coal from your other coal producing provinces, like Kyushu, for example, should have some coal. So that means that the steel mill in Kanto is going to be paying the extra difference of market access price impact of bringing that particular good from Kyushu to Kanto. So let's say, for example, coal in Kyushu is going to cost 20, right? If your market access price impact is 50, you're going to pay in 50% extra for that coal. So you're going to pay 30 for coal in Kanto in order to produce the steel. Our third research is going to be the cotton gin, which is going to give us some more production throughput for cotton plantations and allow us to go down to a lathe, which is a really massive bottleneck when it comes to production methods. Lathe is going to make a lot of our manufacturing industry more efficient. That means it's going to unlock production methods to make more items for the furniture manufacturing, textile mills, and glass works, and lead down a lot more of these. Also, we need atmospheric engine for that matter. However, because this is a level 2 technology, we will be paying extra innovation points to research it because we haven't yet researched all the level 1 technology. So in order to research level 2 atmospheric engine, we need to research cotton gin and lathe before we start researching this, or we're gonna have to pay a lot more innovation to get it done. And to put things into perspective, the Japanese start with barely enough technology to even fill up the first tier, whilst most nations start with mechanical tools. A lot even start with railways. So yeah, we really need to catch up. That's why we're going to try our best to get as much innovation as fast as possible to bring up our technology to the same level as the great powers. When it comes to military, if you press F5 or you go to the military tab, you see on the first area your armies, then your navies, and in the middle demobilization. This screen essentially shows all the armies you currently have, and it allows you to just toggle a couple of buttons here, which will give you some bonuses for these armies. In exchange, you have to pay a higher upkeep for these units. So you could say, for example, increase the speed of these armies at the cost of some morale loss, or you can increase the morale recovery at the cost of some extra liquor required for the armies. As of 1.7, armies are significantly more important. The AI reacts a lot more to an enemy having more or less armies, and also armies are more expensive and have a harder time recovering manpower. So having better technology for your armies to recover manpower faster is really important. That means going to your barracks and setting these particular training methods. As you can see, we start with the basic one, which is 1,000 training rate. If we switch to the second one, we get 1,800, then 2,000, 2,400, and so on. Getting these technologies done is not a priority, however, because as you probably know, unless you're a massively warmongering nation, you don't even need to go to war, at least not in the first few years. And we're not going to go to war in the first few years. We're just going to have a couple of civil wars to pass a few legislations a little bit faster, and that's pretty much it. That being said, I will be making some changes here. I'm going to edit the army, set it by state so it's easier to see where exactly that army is based in, and I'm also going to color code it because I like color coding my armies. Japan starts with an army of 100% irregulars, and they're all extremely bad, which is why until we get line infantry, it really doesn't make that much of a difference if anybody at all decides to invade us. Whether we have 20 imperial soldiers or we have 100, it's the same because they're going to be dog schnapple. So that's why I'm going to click on this, and I'm going to be disbanding every single unit I have except the 20 units that start in my capital of Kansai, I believe is now my capital. Yes, it's easier to do that when I can see here the state itself. See, that's Hokkaido, so we can disband those bad boys. As Japan in particular, we're going to leave the Kansai unit. Once we restore the emperor, we're going to have the capital switched over to Kanto, so that means the units that we have in Kansai, we're going to need to delete and recruit brand new units in Kanto directly. Why are we doing this? Well, this is also a little bit of an exploit that has yet to be patched. Essentially, whenever you have a revolution, you will be keeping your capital, and if the revolution does not have any units, you basically pretty much instantly win that war, since you keep the only army available in the country, which is based in the capital. Deleting those troops also means we pay significantly less now for our military upkeep, which wasn't that big to begin with, but still, even 1,000 makes a big difference when you're playing as the Japanese. Now, as you see here, we have 60,000 in unrealized taxes. That is a big deal. That means we're not getting the amount of money that we should be getting from our provinces. And your first thought might be, if you're a little bit of an experienced player, to just spam the government administration buildings. Let's build as many, then we're going to get the taxes. No, that's not how you get taxes in Japan. Sure, you can build some of these and they will help. However, building these out and exaggeratedly building way too many of these means you're going to end up paying way more for the cost of paper than you should be paying, and you're going to end up paying more than you're actually getting from the taxes, which is not smart. Instead, what we're going to do to get those taxes is we're going to change legislation. First off, switching from traditionalism means that we get an extra 25% taxation capacity. That's massive, because remember, we started with the debuff from traditionalism, and then we're going to switch from hereditary bureaucrats to appointed bureaucrats, which gives us another 25% taxation capacity. So that's an increase of 50% taxation capacity from the get-go to fairly easy legislation to pass. And then you also, of course, build up the government administrations and so on, and you get better production methods for them as well, and you end up with actually being able to cover the taxation in your country. The main priority at the beginning is to build up our industry, give jobs to our people. I'm going to be going ahead and I'm going to make taxation up to very high. Why are we doing this? Obviously because we need the money, but not only because of that, we also get 20% attraction reduction for interest groups in government. At the start, our interest groups in government are going to be the shogunate and the samurai. The shogunate are actually extremely powerful, and we want to lower the strength of the shogunate as much as possible, and eventually we want to replace them with any of the other interest groups so we can do the restoration of the emperor. Before that though, we're going to change whatever legislation we have the ability to change. The Japanese have some of the worst legislations, including serfdom, which offers 50% shogunate political strength, and it also disallows mass migration for peasants as well as internal migration for peasants. That's right, peasants will not be able to migrate between your provinces because you have serfdom. One legislation we have massive support for right now is professional army, so I'm going to go for that really quickly because we start with 68% success chance, so that means we're likely going to get that passed really fast. And then after we get that done, we're going to go for some other legislation like dedicated police force to again lower the political strength of the shogunate, or really just anything else that we might have available. One thing that's really good for the Japanese is that we start with 1,200 authority, and we're going to use this authority to make up for all the other things that we don't start with, including we're going to use it for decrees, and we're going to set up road maintenance decrees, which increases the state construction efficiency and gives some infrastructure. We're going to use the manufacturing industries, the resource industry as well. Now, resource industry and manufacturing will depend on province and province, and I'm going to switch these around as needed. Another way we're going to use our authority is to get consumption taxes. The most important one is services consumption tax, luxury clothes, and even some porcelain tax. We're going to go over quickly to our population, and we're going to hover over them to see what exactly they're paying for mostly and what is more expensive for them. Looks like we have actually a pretty decent situation for the lower strata. They've got quite a bit of excesses. Some things are missing, however, including clothes for pretty much all of them. As you can see, services a lot of the times affects the middle and upper class, as does luxury clothes and transportation. So putting taxation on those doesn't necessarily lower the standard of living as much as putting taxation on, say, liquor, grain, tobacco, and items that are more necessary for the lower strata, not just for the upper and the middle strata. First thing we want to do is we want to construct some more construction sectors, and we're going to do those in Kanto. So let's say we're going to do 5 construction sectors in Kanto from day 1, and then right afterwards we're going to queue up 1 iron mine. We're currently using the wooden building production method for the construction sectors. We could upgrade to the iron frame building, however we're not producing tools, we're not producing iron, and we don't have access to importing these goods from outside. So switching over to this production method would literally kill our economy. We would be making massive efforts to actually be constructing with literally no tool and iron sources. So we're gonna switch to this after we've got some tools and iron mines built, but that's not going to be a priority because we also need some logging camps, and we're going to set up a few logging camps afterwards as well in Kanto, say 3, and 1 cotton plantation, because cotton does give a huge amount of fiber, which the current production method uses, namely fiber and wood. And because we're going to have these construction sectors primarily built in our future capital of Kanto, we also want to have the fiber and wood directly there, so we don't need to import it from adjacent states, which means we're going to pay extra because we have very low market access price impact compared to other nations. In fact, right now we've got 60% market access, so we're paying 40% more. We're going to be using our influence points to improve relations with the Russians, the British, and we're going to try and improve with the French. However, we don't have a common strategic region with the French, so we cannot do any diplomatic actions with them or trade with them for that matter. Not like we can. Right now we have no ability to trade whatsoever. However, we set up the Rhine as our declared interest, so that means once this is established, we'll be able to trade as well as interact diplomatically with Prussia, Belgium, Netherlands, France, because all of them have a province at least within this particular region. We're going to do the same with someone else who might be of use, say the Iberians. Because we also start with the frontier colonization, we're able to colonize provinces adjacent to our already established lands, so that's why we're able to colonize the Kurils and Sakhalin afterwards, but we're not able to colonize outside of these areas. So we'll have to switch our colonization law to colonial exploitation after we're done with colonizing the northern parts of Japan. And in order to colonize, we will need to change our strategic interest so we are able to colonize in those areas. Say we're going to have one in Zanj to colonize the Kenyan parts, or have one in South America to colonize South America, as long as we have a claim. That's another thing you need to take into account when colonizing. Some areas, if you don't have a claim, you will not be able to colonize. Right now, the south part of America, as far as I know, is only colonizable by Argentina and Chile, as these are the 2 nations that have starting claims on the Mapuche, Tehuelche, and Seclamam areas. Now, I want you guys to do something. If you've learned something so far that you didn't know before, even though you've been playing this game for a while, make sure you hit that subscribe button. It would really help me out massively. And I promise, in return, I'm only going to tell you even more stuff that you likely didn't know, or just be that guy you have in the background whilst you're playing some video game. I'm okay with that as well. I appreciate it. Thank you for choosing this channel for that. I know how it feels else. I'm watching Tarkov streamers as I'm recording this, so seeing as we've got a little bit of extra authority lying around, I'm gonna use this to get some decrees around my country, especially the promote social mobility, because we don't really have that much education access. Getting this decree gives us 25% education access in the provinces affected, which can come in massive handy, especially in the early part of the campaign. That being said, I'm not going to use all the authority points because whatever we have in excess will make it so we enact legislation faster. Look at that, we got 14% time enactment for legislation. I'm going to cancel actually the resource one because we don't really need it right now. And then we get up to 20%. You know what, I'm going to cancel this as well because I really want to pass my legislation faster than anything else. There you go, we're up to 25%. That's a-okay for now. Once I'm done with the legislation that are absolutely vital, I will use this primarily for my edicts, the authority points that is. With 1.7, we also have the addition of the power blocks. There's a few power blocks at the start. We've got the Prussian one, the Austrian, the Ottoman one, Russian, and the English one. Usually the French make their own power block where they join another power block, and a lot of the times they take over leadership, so let's see what happens. Whatever the case, if we join a power block, we need to be very careful because it's going to be extremely hard to leave that power block, and in general it's better to have your own power block because you get more benefits from it and you have more say in the matters of what's going on in the power block. So in order to do that, we're going to need to first off research civilizing mission. After we've researched this, we go to our journals, potential journal entries, and then we can get the earning recognition journal entry, which allows us to become an actual recognized country, which means we'll be able to actually set up our own power block. So it's not as easy as it was in previous versions to become a recognized nation anymore. No more cheesy strats with sending of units in certain areas and so on, and that is really weird. Sweden is guaranteeing our independence. Okay, all right, now that we've activated that region, we can improve relations with the French, we can improve relations with the Prussians, or not because we don't have enough influence points. We could also say rival some nations if we like to get more influence points, so we could rival the Great Qing and Tunis for some reason. Okay, everybody knows about the historical rivalry of Tunis and Japan. Clearly the amount of influence points you get depends on the size of your rival, so we're going to get 300 influence from rivaling the Qing, and I think a little bit less from rivaling Tunis. So now we can use that extra influence to improve relations with the Prussians, with everybody else we like to improve relations with. Really, in general, having more nations support you in diplomatic plays is just the right move. One more thing to take note of is that as of 1.7, every single building has ownership. So for example, if we go to the fishing wharves, they're owned right now by a local workforce, which represents the shopkeepers, laborers. The dye plantations are owned by the manor houses, which represents the aristocrats, clergymen, and laborers. As it stands, we pretty much have the aristocrats, which is the manor houses, owning majority of things in the country. We in fact have no capitalists owning anything. When that happens though, we're going to start getting financial districts, which represent the capitalists, and we also can have ownership by the government itself, and based off of that you can get more or less income depending on your legislation, depending on a lot of factors. For example, because the shogunate's really happy with us, we get 20% more aristocrat investment pool contribution efficiency. That's scaled up by 100% stronger effect because of the size of the shogunate. So right now we're getting quite a little bit actually to our investment pool as we progress. Oh, Days of Darkness, I don't care. I'm getting a little bit of infamy, but I will not be attacking anybody anyway, so it's better than paying the money for that. Another very important thing to note is that we can change some of our production methods. Say we can change the logging camp to sawmills, which is going to increase the amount of wood that we produce. However, that's going to cost us tools. We don't have any tool production right now, so we're going to queue up a tooling workshop in Kanto, but until that tooling workshop is finished the building, we cannot change anything. And that's also going to need some iron because we're going to start by using rough iron tools, so it's going to need an input of 20 iron, so we're going to need at least one iron mine. So one iron mine and one tooling workshop before we even think about changing, say, livestock production method to butchering tools, which again uses tools. This is something that a lot of people, especially newer players, struggle with because they don't realize why exactly their economy is failing and why everything is going bad, when it could be simply because they don't have the right input goods for their production method. In most cases, that's easily fixable by just importing something. You can import from another nation, but because we start as an isolationist nation, meaning our trade policy doesn't allow us to trade with anybody else, we cannot import or export any goods, so we're stuck with whatever we have in the Japanese islands. You know what? I think I can probably do 5 more construction sectors. Right now we're just minting money, which is not good. You don't want to be minting money, it means you're basically not using your economy to its full capacity. So the moment that we start losing money, that's when we stop building construction sectors, because we've basically reached our current limit for construction capabilities. As for legislation, whenever you try and pass a legislation, guys, you've got a success chance that is basically based off of how many interest groups endorse this particular legislation, as well as the clout that these particular interest groups have at the start. And then this changes on every single tick. Whenever a tick happens, you might get some progress, you might get some reduction in progress, so lowered success, or you might just go straight to the next phase. There's 3 phases: introduction, consideration, and adoption. Once all 3 phases have been passed without reaching 3 setbacks, you pass the legislation. If you reach 3 setbacks, then you get the legislation canceled. And if you reach 0% success chance, you will either get a setback, or if you don't have enough setbacks, you will get it canceled as well. And there you have it. That was fairly quick, actually, getting professional army. The great part about getting professional army is that we now have some extra political strength for the samurai, which is the armed forces interest group, as well as we can get more mobilized battalions in case we get attacked. We also get a weekly unit experience gain for armies and navies, and it also rebalances the interest of our population. So there's overall just a lot of great changes from switching that legislation. Another easy way of getting more battalions mobilized in case of war is going for the National Guard. There is some support for that actually right now, but it's not a major priority. I'm gonna go actually for the colonial exploitation, because right now I've got a lot of support for it. Later that might change, and getting colonial exploitation earlier means we might be able to start colonizing Kenya, and then if we manage to block off this area, then we will have half of Africa, which is where majority of rubber is going to come in the later part of the campaign, one of the most vital resources in the later part of the campaign. As it seems, the British have started colonizing Kenya, so that's not going to be super viable, but we can still colonize parts of Congo, parts of Cameroon, and so on, and make our entry into Central Africa from those areas too. And because we've got the authority so high, which gives us the enactment time reduction, the high success chance, the high legitimacy, because remember also legitimacy affects how fast or how slow you're going to be passing your legislation. Lower legitimacy means you get 50% more enactment time, which means it's going to take significantly longer. Above 90% legitimacy means you enact even faster. I don't think we can get that. Oh, we can actually. Temporarily, we could do that so that we can pass this significantly. Oh my god. Oh my, look how fast that's going. Dude, what? 36 days to have 1 tick. That is actually ridiculous. 60% faster because of righteous government. So that means legitimacy is really high. Extra authority 25% and timed modifier 10%. Wow. I'm honestly shocked by how fast that's passing. And there you have it, boys. We got colonial exploitation. We're gonna start exploiting Africa after we finish getting Sakhalin. I'd rather get these areas just in case before the Russians decide to get those areas, you know what I mean? Now, despite having 90% legitimacy, we don't have access to any legislation we want to pass. So we want to get more interest groups in the government to have more available options. As it stands, the clergy doesn't really give us many, so let's reform and get the armed forces as well, or the samurai. That way we have access to the dedicated police force, which I am really hopeful is actually going to pass. We also managed to finish our very first tooling workshops. I'm going to change this from rough iron tools to crude tools until I finish my iron mine, and I'm going to go to rural, and I'm going to use these tools in my logging camp. So let's change to the sawmill. Now all the tools that are going to be produced in the tooling workshop will now go towards the logging camp. However, we do have a shortage of tools because right now we're not producing enough tools to sustain all of the logging camps. If you have a shortage of a specific good, this can give you some massive debuff, and you will eventually have up to a 50% penalty for lacking that specific good. This will get better, of course, the more tools we produce, but it is not a very easy process. One more thing you probably noticed when you click on the tooling workshop, it is right now owned by the government, by us directly, not by one of the aristocrat manor houses. But if we want to, we could also privatize this, and we get for one level 150,000, which in some cases is actually not the worst idea. And I'm just quickly realizing that this legislation is actually going to fail. It's not going to pass. I'm going to cancel it myself. Let's see if we can get National Guard. Hope, fingers crossed we can. So we finished building our first iron mines. That means we're going to be switching over to the rough iron tools, which will intake iron from the iron mines, and in exchange is going to produce more tools. We're producing 60 tools rather than the 30 tools that we would be producing with the same amount of workers. And that's great because these tools means that we don't have any more shortages for the logging camps. Actually, we do have, I think, a little bit. We need to have a few more tools. Not to worry though, we're getting our second tooling workshop as soon as possible, as well as the other iron mine to support it. There you go. The price of iron skyrocketed because the tooling workshop has a demand of 20 iron. The problem with our initial iron mines as Japan is that we only start with the basic pick and shovel production method, so we're only getting 20 iron per mine. We need at least the atmospheric engine pumps to get 40 iron per mine in order to switch over from the wooden buildings to the iron frame buildings. Otherwise, we just would not be able to have enough iron production with that production method to sustain all the construction sectors. It wouldn't be economically viable to do so. That's why we need to research atmospheric engine pumps before we even switch on over to the iron frame building production method for the construction sectors. We still need a lot more wood, so let's queue up max out wood production in Kanto. That means 9 logging camps. Our current queue looks a little bit like this. We might change it around depending on how our economy is doing. I feel kind of confident that I can do a few more construction sectors, so I might just get some more in Tohoku. So I'll click 1, 2, 3 in Tohoku for now. I'm gonna have Tohoku and Kanto as my main construction sector areas, because once we switch over to the iron frame building, we have iron in both Tohoku and in Kanto. That being said, we do have 600 logs missing, so we need to queue up even more logs in or wood, better yet, in Tohoku, which right now does have 5 logging camps, so it's not too bad overall. And we just got our very first lobby. That means we're gonna have a pro-Russia lobby. Lobbies have been added in 1.7, and you can get up to +10 approval or -10 disapproval based on how exactly you interact with the targeted country and what kind of a lobby it is. Now, because this is a pro-Russian lobby and it affects only the intelligentsia, keep that in mind as well. It can affect different interest groups, and sometimes you can add or remove interest groups from certain lobbies. Doing actions that are pro-Russian gives us increased approval for the intelligentsia. Doing actions that are against the Russians will lower the approval of this lobby, and as such lower the approval of the intelligentsia. Fairly straightforward, the lobbies, in my opinion. And it seems like the natives are rebelling. Let's send our amazing irregular units to wipe out the Sakhalin Nativikams. Take note, sometimes it's not necessarily better to change to certain production methods just because you have them. For example, here, the rice farms, we could change to harvesting tools. What does that mean? It means that the cost of tools is going to increase because it's going to require tools to be used here. It also means it will slightly increase the amount of grain that you're going to produce in these farms, but at the same time, it decreases the amount of laborers. And right now, we've got 6.7 million people that don't have jobs, so we don't want to decrease laborers when we literally need as many jobs as possible just to get a little bit of extra grain out of these particular farms. I just had literally 4 ticks that failed. 4 ticks that failed in a row. That canceled my movement to get the National Guard. How can I be so unlucky that I get 4 ticks in a row that fail? Like, what? We literally had like 30-something% and we went down to 0. Come on, man. We have reached a situation in which we've got no legislation to pass, okay? That's primarily because our shogunate's actual scumbag. So how do we change that? Well, one easy way to do so, and we actually could have done this from the beginning, to be fair, is we take the shogunate out of the government, confirm, and then afterwards we fire this guy by exiling dissident, and then the next guy that's going to come in charge is going to be a reformer. That's because this is General Hidetatsu Egawa. He is a part of the shogunate and he has really high popularity, and he usually is one of the 3 generals that potentially can take leadership of the shogunate. How did I make sure that this guy took leadership though? I fired the other guys. So that way I made sure that the only other option there is to just have this guy in charge. And because of this guy being a reformer, we can also add the intelligentsia to the government and not have a complete collapse of the government. We still have 49 legitimacy, which means we can pass some legislations now, including we can try and go for homesteading, which means we lose 50% shogunate political strength, and it allows internal migration for peasants, which is one of the most important things for now, because allowing that means that our population will be able to get jobs in adjacent states if they don't have any jobs available in their own state. This does also mean that we're gonna have a revolution now, since it's 100% gonna piss the schnapps out of the shogunate. There you go, as I was saying. And as you probably imagined, every province except Hokkaido in the north and our capital is a part of the revolution. That being said, the revolution has 0 units. They will try and recruit some conscripts, so keep that in mind. But we've got the army, so we should have the upper hand over them. Boy, it's really scary when you literally lost the entirety of your country. Let's set up some temporary edicts here, and we're basically just going to be building building in Kansai for the time being until the revolution is over. And it's on, boys. They seem to have recruited 0 conscripts, so that's actually really good for us because it means we're probably going to be winning this really quick. Let's see what lobby opportunity we got here. Make an alliance with the Russians. That's going to be impossible. There you have it, boys. We've done the restoration, honorable restoration. We didn't even need to wait for any years. It instantly happens if we get the revolution and we win against the shogunate. That means we now have the Ninka restoration. The restoration name is based off of the emperor that is historically alive during that period. So if we did this in the 1860s, it would be called the Meiji restoration. We have 2 options. We can either bolster the intelligentsia or the industrialists. I'm actually going to go for the intelligentsia because that was the one that actually helped us the most right now. Only 30 legitimacy. It's going to take a little bit of time for everything to come back to normal, but we're working our way towards it. Edo is the new capital, so if we ever have revolts again, we need to make sure that these troops are going to be in Kanto or Edo rather than in Kyoto/Kansai. Basically, that means no more revolution for the time being, okay? We have to also redo our construction queue and our production methods now. We're going to go back to iron tools, market square, and of course, sawmills. We still have a massive shortage of wood. We're probably going to need to build a lot more logging camps than we have right now. We're only at 33 legitimacy, so it's not the greatest of situations, but once we've actually gotten homesteading done and we pass a couple more legislations, we should actually be fine. We have 3 new journal entries. These are essentially missions, which once completed will give you certain bonuses. In the case of the Meiji restoration, or better yet, Ninka restoration, in order to fulfill this, we need to do all 3 of the restoration journal entries. That means we need to have 70% of all of our states a level 5 urban center and a railway. We need to enact certain legislation, including get rid of serfdom, which we're doing right now. And we also need to stop being isolated and stop having closed borders and traditionalism as our economic system. So it's a long way, that's for sure. It's not going to be easy, but it's going to be worth it. We are in massive shortage of clippers and tools, so we are queuing up a lot more tools now. We just got lathe, which means we can now change some of our production methods to actually make some money, including the lathe production method for the furniture manufacturers. This does mean that we're going to need more tools now, and we already have a pretty significant shortage of tools, but not to fear. We pretty much queued up only tools for a while now. We actually need to queue up a shipyard too, because we're missing a few clippers. So let's queue it up over here in Kyushu. We might as well build it in the province where we already have 1 building of that particular type, because remember guys, the more buildings of a particular type you have in a province, the more throughput bonus you get. So here we get an economy of scale throughput bonus because we have 9 buildings. It should be 8% throughput bonus. However, we got minus 50% economy of scale bonus from the fact that 9 out of 9 are nationally owned levels. In order to get 100% economy of scale bonus, we need to mix it up, not have only nationally owned, also privatize some of these particular buildings. So that's a major thing you need to realize with 1.7. You need to have a good mixture of private and nationally owned buildings in your provinces. Otherwise, it's going to be a little bit of an issue. So the French formed finally their own power bloc, the Association of Syndicates. Okay, that's interesting. Are they a communist nation or something? No, they're a monarchy. How come they got syndicates despite being a monarchy? That's the real question right there. We're really close to passing homesteading, guys. I had to lower the amount of construction sectors that I have because the reality is until we pass certain vital legislation, namely we change from hereditary bureaucrats to appointed bureaucrats, and we change from serfdom to homesteading, as well as we pass certain technologies as well. Until that happens, taking credit as Japan kills us. You want to know why? Look at that. We got 18,000 in credit and we're already paying 100 interest. That is freaking massive. The amount of interest you pay as the Japanese is insanely huge, and I cannot increase my taxes to very high because that would lower my legitimacy way too much. I wouldn't have enough legitimacy to pass homesteading. Once I've passed it, I can increase my taxes, and as such I can increase my construction sectors and ramp up my economy. But right now I am 100% prioritizing getting my legislation fixed, because getting rid of homesteading is actually insanely important right now. The landowners still have 12% clout after the revolution, and they're growing super fast because of the legislation that supports them. And passing this also means we're going to empower the Heimin, or the Peasants Guild, which means we will be able to pass agrarianism afterwards, since the only ones that are supporting that are the Heimin and the industrialists and the trade unions. But industrialists and trade unions are marginalized, so that really doesn't matter whatever they have to say, meaning we have to 100% rely on the Heimin to pass this legislation, which is our only chance to get rid of traditionalism. So that being said, in your own own games, don't be too scared of sometimes lowering the amount of construction sectors that you have and just ramping it back up later afterwards whenever you're able to afford more construction sectors. It's honestly better than starting to go into massive debt and as such, losing a grip on the amount of interest that you have to pay. And there you have it, boys. We got homesteading, meaning now, most importantly than anything else, we are able to have population move from one state to another. Before, because of serfdom, it did not allow mass migration, it did not allow internal migration, nor does tenant farming allow internal migration for that matter. So now we don't have those issues. We're not constrained by that, meaning we can try our best here to go for agrarianism. Our percentage right now for that is 26%, and we've got a little bit of movement to pass agrarianism. So fingers crossed we get this on the first try without any revolution. That would be optimal. So now that we've passed that, I'm gonna go for appointed bureaucrats, not agrarianism first, because I want to wait until this particular movement gets a little bit more support. Right now, only 25% success chance is not much, but I got 31 success chance for appointed bureaucrats, which is significantly more. And if this passes, then we are gonna get 25 more taxation capacity. So we essentially fix a lot of our economic issues. Instead of losing 53,000 from unrealized taxes, we're gonna lose like 35 or something taxes. Since we have become the Empire of Japan, we can also adopt state Shintoism as our main religion. What happens when you do this? Well, basically we replace our current main religion, the Mahayana one, which has 24 million followers, with the Shinto one, which is gonna have like 14-15 million. However, what this also does is it changes the ideology of the Buddhist monks. They go from Buddhist moralists to Shinto pietists, which is more or less kind of the same, not much of a difference. The main thing is that the Shinto guys are kind of more on board with freedom of conscience, as well as more on board with adopting a political party system. And we also changed the interest group trait, so we're gonna have 40% conversion as well as 30% authority the more approval we have with the Buddhists. Right now what we're getting from them, 20% authority, 10% less, and minus 100% radicals from standard of living decree. Ottomans are guaranteeing our independence. What the schnaps is going on, man? Let me check my diplomacy. Swedes and the Ottomans are guaranteeing my independence. That makes no sense to me. I've also queued up 10 universities in Kanto. I'm really far behind with my tech. I don't have any universities yet. I should have built universities from the get-go, so that was a little bit on me. But we're making up for it now, and we're going to try and max out our universities before we grow our economy even more. Oh, look at that. We got 48% movement now. We're enactment chance for agrarianism. So once we do get bureaucrats, I'm going to 100% push for this no matter what happens. And we just got Napoleonic warfare research, which now means we can upgrade our units to line infantry. Take note, upgrading them to line infantry means that we're going to have an upkeep now of small arms. We are not producing any small arms, and we cannot import because we're still isolated. So if we were to upgrade to line infantry, sure, they're better units by far, 20 offense, 25 defense compared to 10-10. We don't have the weapons for them, so we're going to be destroying our economy trying to upkeep units that we don't have guns for. We're not doing that yet. We're going to do it once we have our own small arms industry up and running. There you have it, boys. We got appointed bureaucrats, extra taxation capacity, more political strength for the bureaucrats, and now let's go for agrarianism. We only have 19% success chance. What happened to the political movement for that? They just dissipate? Oh, but not to worry, the landowners are back on board trying to preserve traditionalism. Brother, really? Switching from hereditary bureaucrats meant that we are now losing 25% bureaucracy, population cost multiplier, so that's why we are losing a little bit of bureaucracy. Not too much yet, but we will still have to build up an government administration building. Let's get it set up in our capital for now. Oh, dude, hails, yes. Technology spread for society plus 100. All we gotta do is owe Russia an obligation. I'm okay with that. I don't mind if Russia calls me into some of their wars. We got the atmospheric engine journal entry done, so we can choose between some throughput for our mines or get some technology bonus for the water tube boiler. Always, in general, when you get these type of choices, go for the technology, because reality is that the technology makes a much bigger difference and an impact than the throughput makes, especially in the early part of the campaign when you're not going to be producing that much anyway, so that throughput's not going to be scaling too much in any case. We did the fall of the samurai journal entry also now, so that means we can get rid of the Bakufu ideology that the samurai have. This is horrible because the Bakufu ideology endorses serfdom, monarchy, autocracy, stuff that we really want to see out of our government. We're gonna go for the first option, and now the samurai have the democrat ideology, meaning they're gonna be on board with universal suffrage, census suffrage, wealth voting, elected bureaucrats. bureaucrats and appointed bureaucrats. And we also got an agitator that we really don't want to have from them, so we're going to be exiling him from our country. Also, we've changed another one of our production methods, which requires that we now have fertilizer. We are by default producing some fertilizer when we switch over to the increased wool gathering. Right now we're doing 18 fertilizer, which is not really that much, so we need to actually get some fertilizer factories in. We're building them over in Chugoku, which also has sulfur, so we have to queue up a sulfur mine right after the fertilizer plant, or the fertilizer plant's not going to have anything to work with. And this ensures that we have a much better production method for the rice farms, meaning with less rice farms we can get more grain out of them. Also, until we finish our fertilizer plants, we're going to be changing most of these to the previous production method, and only will be keeping a couple of them on the new one. Enough, as many as we can actually supply with fertilizers, so that means right now just the 2 ones in Chugoku actually. So we've got again legitimacy issues. That means we've had to lower our taxes in order to get more legitimacy to be able to keep on passing this legislation. So I'm going to be pausing construction altogether in order to be able to actually have a shot at passing agrarianism before the revolution triggers, or I have to cancel the legislation. Honestly, out of all the patches, I think 1.7 is the most brutal one when playing as the Japanese. The legislation changes are just insane. Words cannot describe how relieved I am to get agrarianism. Oh my god, dude. Like, it genuinely, I was on the verge of alt F4ing and not playing the game anymore. It's just ridiculous how bad traditionalism is. Now, because we did get agrarianism, it means that 50% of our construction is going to be allocated towards the private sector. We also get 50% government dividends reinvested, 30% dividends efficiency, and we get contribution efficiency from the aristocrats, farmers, and clergy, and we don't get from the increased as well as decreased for the capitalists. Not to worry too much though, we don't have that many capitalists in the first place, so it's not really a big deal. Now we can actually start taxing, because if we go to normal taxes, we're actually making a buttload of money, and we can resume our construction queues. Actually, if I get the petite bourgeoisie and the landowners, then I can change some legislations, including per capita taxation, which is really going to help us out a lot, as well as change from closed borders to migration control, which is one of our journal entries actually, but that's 8% chance. That's going to be a little bit of a struggle. Then again, struggle is my middle name, I guess, so let's attempt to go for migration control. I love this little feature here. So when you click on a factory in a state, right, you can see the outgoing arrows, which is essentially the product that is made within this factory, goes to these various farms. So we're delivering fertilizer to these farms, and then we're getting an input of iron from the red arrow towards us, as well as some sulfur from this particular arrow as well. Oh wow, that is not a great start to this. 2% success chance. Yikes. Change of plan, boys. We're gonna get rid of these guys, and we're going to bring in the armed forces in our government. Why are we doing that? Well, because we might be able to switch over to one of these voted distribution of power, which means we might get some more people to align with non-shogunate. So let's go with the landed voting, which should be the one that's going to give us the least amount of hassle. I've also gone ahead and I've disbanded my entire army. I'm only going to rely on conscripts when I need to, so we're going to max out the conscripts we're getting in Kanto for now. We're also going to go ahead and research Central Archives, which once more is going to help us with a flat 25 taxation capacity, and it's going to unlock some new production methods in the government administration to help even more. What on earth just happened here? Heavenly Kingdom. When did Great Qing collapse so freaking hard? I mean, it's gone. It's completely freaking gone. This would actually be an amazing opportunity for me to expand into China, but I got bigger issues. I can do that later in the campaign as well. I really have a set target of revamping our legislation by 1860. That way, after 1860s, we can start focusing on the economy and everything else and starting to catch up with the rest of the great powers. Holy shit, man. Can we actually pass this? What is going on, dude, in this run? Like, actually, I've been struggling my ass off here with these legislations. This has refused to pass like 6 freaking ticks in a row, dude. Come on. Oh, yes, baby. I just saw my economy go up by 5,000 the second that we researched that technology. That was glorious. So I'm actually going to research dialects first, because that's going to allow me the philosophy department production method for the university, which means we're going to get more weekly innovation out of that particular production method from universities. Also fairly confident I can switch over to the iron frame buildings, at least save 5 of the construction sectors. And there you go, we go for condensed engine pumps, which should fix any sort of issue we have with iron now. Let's see, what's it looking like? 160 on the minus. Make sure we bring these coal mines at the top of the queue, right after the government administrations. Hey, we got adoption phase. Hell yeah, man. And there you have it. We got landed voting. We have a nice, prettied up change of flag as consequence of having a kind of constitutional monarchy now, since we have a voting system. We have some extra political strength for the upper class of our society since they have the right to vote, but we also get some legitimacy off of those votes, so that's not so bad. And after a couple of voting sessions, we might be able to get someone else on the government that's not the landowners that would love to change our situation and change our legislation more. Oh, okay, now we're talking, boys. Look at that. Because of the voting changes, the Agrarian Party actually has a lot of support now, as does the Intelligentsia. They went up a little bit, didn't they? Yes, they did. Okay, so let's see what we can do now. Totally attempt to do this, which means we would get rid of an extra 10% political strength for the landowners. And I'd love to get the secret police too. Screw it, I'm going for the secret police. That's gonna make a few individuals happy as well, so that's not bad. And we got another this guy again. Bro, I keep exiling this man and he keeps coming back. What is going on here? Let's see how much of a change this makes now. Changius Maximus. It's gonna give us 45 innovation. Okay, so we're going up to 101 innovation. We need a few more universities and then we are actually capped out. And if we change this as well, we would have significantly more bureaucracy. We do not need it right now, so we're gonna change that once we need it, of course. I'm gonna get 5 more universities here, and I'm gonna attempt to go full on iron frame buildings. It also means we're gonna need significantly more iron now, so I'm gonna need to queue up a buttload of iron mines. The great part of our situation is that we have 9 million in our investment pool, which is gonna get used. Problem is we don't have the right economic system to use it. We're gonna need to switch over to interventionalism to make use of our investment pool a little bit better. But for now, agrarianism is gonna have to work. So we're gonna use some of the investment pool to build up some farms in the south, just to get jobs for people and to make up for the lack of grain that we have in our country right now. We've got some issues with our market access in our capital. We already have the road maintenance edict, so the only thing we can actually do to increase this is either build some railways, which we don't have the technology for, or we can build some ports. Because another thing that not many people know is that ports not only give convoys, they also give infrastructure. Not as much as railways, but they still give a little bit, which is better than nothing. And because we got the secret police, we can also change some of these over to standardized filing cabinets to make up for the increase in our bureaucratic needs. There we go. That should be fine now. I'm gonna try and get my home affairs as advanced as possible too, because if we get it to level 4, it means we get 40% political movement radicalism reduction, which is huge, and I mean absolutely huge. It will allow us to pass legislation without revolts way more. And look at that. Oh my god, dude. Oh my god, dude. This is the dream team. We have... Oh, these guys were trying to do a coup. I forgot. Yeah, okay, yeah. No coup for you, buddy. Yeah, we've got the Agrarian Party and the Intelligentsia. Let's see what kind of legislation we can cook up with these bad boys now. They would both be on board with dedicated police force, so we start with 37%. Oh, yes, baby. It's on. We're finally becoming a modern standard Japan here. This has increased our paper cost significantly, so we're gonna need to build up some more paper mills. Say another 4 of them in Chugoku, which is the best state to have them in, because paper production will require sulfur with the second production method once we've got mechanized tools. And we do have, you guessed it, sulfur in this particular state. And we're researching also mechanized tools as we speak. And up next, we're gonna go for per capita taxation. It says here that we're gonna get 4.1k revenue, but the reality is that we're gonna get a lot more than that once we pass this legislation. I love how no matter what happens, any legislation I try to pass, the landowners instantly start a revolution. Like, come on, dude, really? They always own most of Japan as well. Essentially, nothing can make them happy, guys. They're like my mom. Check out how much of a change this makes. 195 paper extra from switching that production method, and we can also switch this to condensed engine pumps. So we literally just need one more sulfur mine, and we can cover all the extra sulfur requirements for the paper mills now. Before, we didn't need to switch from atmospheric engine pump to condensed engine pump because we didn't need to have more sulfur produced, but now we do. So that's pretty much the case with everything. Don't switch over to a new PM just because it's a new PM. Wait until you actually need to switch over to that PM. Ooh, we can get one of the foreign nations to help us with the railway technology. That is wild. Okay, I think I'm gonna go for the Brits because I like to get some more relations with them as well. And now we are so much more closer to researching railways fully. actually. Holy snaps, we're not doing bad, man. We've got more GDP than the US. Okay, oh, okay, I see what's going on. I feel like the US might have a little bit of an issue here. Are they at peace? Because it kind of looks like they are. Oh, they made peace. So there's 2 USs in the north of America, not one, and they're not at war. So I'm not sure how that's gonna get handled. If they're gonna be evolving in parallel to each other, how is that world gonna be like? On the bright side, with this patch, they actually fixed a lot of things. So look at that. The Confederacy has the slave trade and the US has it banned. So it actually is accurate now, not like in previous patches where it was pretty much the opposite. Oh, such a great day. 1860 on point, and we got per capita taxation as well as we researched railways. So this is the moment where we're gonna start snowballing like crazy. Now another cool thing is that we've gotten the gold mines in Hokkaido finally. So we're gonna be building a buttload of gold mines here. Max this out because this is just free money essentially. And we're also gonna be building a few more textile mills, furniture manufactories, also just basic stuff to increase our standard of living and to also make some money out of, because afterwards we're gonna start to increase the amount of construction sectors that we have. So we're gonna need some money for that. As it stands, if we were to go to max taxation, we have 210,000. So it's not too bad, but we don't want to go on max taxation. We want to grow our economy with medium taxation if possible. We're already taxing the shit out of everybody from a consumption tax. Jesus, mother of God. I got 2 agitators. Both of them want me to pass state religion. I mean, if I was to just fight against this, I would honestly just lose. I mean, come on. We got 100% success chance for this thing. It's ridiculous. Sometimes you do have to go with the flow in this game as well. There we go. That lowered our radicals by 2 million, so that's not so bad actually. We also got the first explosives factory, which we're using to increase our production of iron. Right now we're using the nitroglycerin production method here, which adds an extra 122 iron, meaning we only have a 200 shortage of iron. So we still need to queue up a few more of these iron mines here, and because we're starting to get massive market access issues, we might need to get a secondary railway. Before anything, we do need to get the motor industry and the steel mills, because we need motor industries for the railways and we need steel to make sure that the motors get built. So it's just a scaling effect. You need one and the other to make sure you have just railways. Knowing what exactly you need is really vital though. So make sure you hover over what exactly is the input items, which gives out the output items afterwards. Right now, look at that. 525 we're paying for 5 engines because we just don't have any produced right now. It's going to take another 12 weeks before we actually get our very first engines out. I'm genuinely thinking to build some more construction sectors. I feel like we can definitely afford it. Yeah, let's get another 5 construction sectors after this is done. There we go. 5 more. Oh my god, we actually have an agitator for migration control. Dude, please, I need people to support this. I really need this badly. This is the hardest legislation to pass because not many of my interest groups actually approve this. Right now it seems like just the petite bourgeoisie might be interested in it. So let's see if we can get a government that has the petite bourgeoisie in it. We do have available one if we get the landowners in. So let's see what that's going to look like. 13% chance. Also, let's change this to steel tools production method. So that way we encourage the steel mills to produce some more steel. We're going to also need a couple more steel mills for sure. We got a lobby opportunity for a defensive pact with the Swedes. Now, the great part about lobbies is that when you do get such opportunities, you also get some bonus towards getting that enacted. So let's go ahead and get that defensive alliance with the Swedes. Famous historical alliance between Sweden and Japan, clearly. And there you have it, boys. 25% chance. Let's go. Please, Orange Jesus, give me everything. I need this passed. I love you. To do the last journal entry here, industrialize Japan, we need to have 70% of our states with a level 5 or higher urban center and have a railway. The urban center is right here. You get more urbanization by having more buildings in that state. Most of our states already are level 5 or above, but we don't have a railway with them. So we do need to build a railway in all of them to do that particular journal entry. So let's go ahead and queue up a few of these bad boys then. That's also going to incentivize our engine manufacturers to build more engines because we're going to need those for the railway stations. Holy snap, that actually went to consideration already. God dang. We can also get our very first company quite a few years later than most nations can. And we're going to go for the Empire of Japan Metals, which is going to give steel mill throughput as well as iron mine and lead mine throughput and company bonuses. So speaking of, we need to build some lead mines because we haven't done yet. And that way we can also change our glassworks production method to produce more glass. Our political situation is so-so. We've got a couple of agitators. One of them is a traditionalist petite bourgeoisie, which makes no sense to me. Then we also have a traditionalist Hayman. Like, what is up with these agitators? It's like we picked the worst of the worst somehow. We got quite a few radicals, actually 6.51 million. A lot of them are part of the Hayman, the trade unions, and so on. So it's mostly the common folk that are not happy with the current situation. Our laws are pretty decent so far. We've got the migration control, which allows non-discriminated pops to migrate to our country. And right now, the only non-discriminated pops are Japanese because we have national supremacy. So in order to get any other pops to actually migrate, we need to pass racial segregation. So we're going to enact that. We actually have a revolution for that to enact it. So we might as well do it. It's going to actually make a lot of people very happy for that matter. If we hover over Japanese, we have the East Asian heritage trait. So once we pass racial segregation, only East Asians will be allowed to migrate to our country. So that means Koreans, Han, Miao, Min, Zhuang, Yi. Han is basically Chinese. It's basically Chinese and Koreans will be able to migrate. So we don't need to pass any other legislation afterwards because there's like 1 billion people in China that will be able to migrate to our lands, seeing as we're doing significantly better than all of the fractured former Qing nations. We will expect a buttload of migrants to come to our country, which brings me to the other thing, isolationism. So we still have isolationism. I haven't passed any other policies. I will eventually pass the other policies because I want to do the restoration journal entry. However, I'm holding on to this for now, not pushing too hard. Even though it gives -15 technology spread, which is horrible, it does give 50% authority and 25% taxation capacity. So honestly, if you're going to be playing toll in Japan, you don't need to worry about population because with racial segregation and migration control, you will be getting only East Asian pops and they will get converted to Japanese very fast as they will be an accepted culture in our country once they migrate in here. So we never need to worry about radicals of different religions, different cultures and so on, because once they become Japanese, they're also going to convert to our religion as well, making Japan the perfect playing toll nation in my opinion. And we already started industrializing. Before we go and talk about the economy, let's finish this off here. We do have agrarianism, which is not bad. It's better than traditionalism a million times, but we want to push over towards interventionalism that is currently supported by the trade unions and the industrialists. So we need to make sure we change our government to get these two unions, or better yet, these two interest groups in charge somehow and give them more clout. We've got appointed bureaucrats, which also offer some taxation capacity. We got secret police that helps out a lot. But we also want to go towards a parliamentary republic or a presidential republic in the worst case, I guess. Parliamentary one is going to be better in my opinion because it's going to empower a little bit the people more than anything, and the intelligentsia is going to get the Republican ideology, which is going to make it easier for us to get universal suffrage and hold on to the parliamentary republic system. Now we currently have Emperor Ninko Yamato as the emperor, and we've got Prince Komei as the heir apparent. The intelligentsia is pretty pissed. That's why we have the revolution here for racial segregation to be enacted. And there is a trick here that I'm going to show you guys. Not really a trick, a game feature actually, that's going to make us a parliamentary republic or a presidential one, a little bit based on RNG, super fast. Before we do that particular thing, the construction queue revolves around building up our economy a little bit now. Since we've got a decent 135 construction sectors, we should have about 200 at least in 1860. So we're a little bit behind with our construction. We focused a bit too much on passing legislation, and we had some pretty bad RNG to be honest as well, but we'll make up for it. Now we are also building barracks in Kanto because I plan on actually having an army. Right now we got no army. We are relying on conscripts, and the Russians have changed their attitude from friendly to extremely hostile really fast. So they might actually attack us to make us their puppet. So we need to have an army in case that happens. Budget wise, we could potentially go up to 250,000. We're going to keep it on medium taxation though. We can survive with that. We still don't have many loans. We only have 300,000 credits, so it's actually pretty decent, meaning we pay 1,000 in interest right now, but we do have a little bit of a surplus in iron and a few other base goods. So we're going to be expanding our construction sectors. Let's say 4 extra construction sectors should be fine for now, I think. Technology wise, we're doing so. I can probably build some more universities by this point. Yes, I can build 2 more universities. I'm going to queue them up after the construction sectors. I'm researching psychiatry, and I'm going to try and do everything in the 2nd tier for society research because I really want to go to the 3rd tier and research civilizing mission, which is going to make us a recognized power. That means we're going to become a great power once we become a recognized power, but we need to research all the other technologies from the 2nd tier so we don't get the debuff of researching technology ahead of time. So what was that trick I was talking about? The trick is to just abdicate the throne. Before we abdicate, great. You can have this save if you like it. It's available to all my patrons and channel members. Link in description if you like to join. It would really help out the channel massively. And check out what happens now when we abdicate this bastard. So we got 3 options. First off, we just get Emperor Ninko, which is the heir, as our new emperor. Second option is we become a parliamentary republic, and we got racial segregation instantly enacted, and we get 25% of our pops loyalists. We lose some political strength for the Heyman for 5 years for the petit bourgeoisie and the landowners, which is the ones in charge of our government. So what we could do if we reload the save is we get the Heyman out of the government, we get the petit bourgeoisie out of the government as well, we keep only the landowners, and as such we get minus 90% interest group for the interest groups that we don't like, right? So we're doing exactly that right now. Let's go reform government, get these guys out. Oh, these guys are actually in the same political party, so we cannot really do much about it actually. And we have to bring the armed forces in as well, which is fine, I don't mind. There you go. Now we can abdicate once more, and check it out. Armed forces, petit bourgeoisie, and landowners all get minus 90 political strength, and we get parliamentary republic and racial segregation instantly. This does mean we get rid of our dynasty, but it's not the end of the world. We don't want anyway to worry about that snap. And we got racial segregation, parliamentary republic, and we have no government, so we need to reform that a little bit. There you go. We do this, and now we do have a government. On pause, we shouldn't have any more revolts also. There we go. And with the new government, look at all the legislation we can pass, including charity hospitals or public health insurance if we invent pharmaceuticals, which is actually really easy for us to invent right now. We also can go down this path and get wealth voting. Parliamentary republic, in my opinion, is probably the best type of republic. We can also switch on over and get freedom of consciousness once we have a little bit more support for that, so we can switch and get the public schools. Remember that you cannot get public schools if you have straight religion enacted as one of your legislations, and if you get religious schools, it's going to be very difficult afterwards to get public schools. So I'm gonna start with the wealth voting for now. We also gained a little bit of loyalists, and we got rid of 4 million radicals, which is a big win in my books. I think I need to also queue up the construction sectors again since I reloaded the save. There we go, 2-2. And I think we need to get a couple of universities here. You know what, let's make it 4 universities. I'm gonna queue these bad boys after the construction sectors though. Our economy also increased a little bit as a result of the change in government. I love the fact that our current chancellor literally is wearing rags. My man does not have money to buy clothes. I mean, this is just accurate, right? Clearly labor parties and current governments in the world are wearing rags. They're not complete scumbags. Clearly not, guys. This guy is also a land reformer, so it's going to help us out with collectivized agriculture once we get the mutual fund to be able to change to collectivized agriculture legislation. And he's also pretty much on board with changing our taxation laws later down the line, so he's not bad. We still have the restoration journal entry, so once we've gotten the railways built in our provinces, because that's the only thing missing, and we've gone away from isolationist, we can do completely the restoration of the emperor, but in this case it's the restoration of the chancellor, I guess. That's kind of weird that you still have this journal, right? But we got 30 barracks being built in Kanto. We don't have any arms industries though, so we're gonna need to put up at least 1 arms industry before we start getting those barracks done. So let's go ahead and click this and get 1 in Kanto. I'm also gonna get an artillery foundry in Kanto and a military shipyard over in Kyushu. We're still steady actually with our economy. You know what, let me get a couple more construction sectors. Let me actually catch up with my industrial output, or potential industrial output anyway. Also want to mention, guys, that as of 1.7 the corn laws have been massively nerfed. I mean, landowners get repeal corn law for 9 years, which gives interest group minus 5, and 10% labor pops in Japan become more loyalist. That's it. That's literally it. That is not great at all in my opinion. Look at that, boys. Minus 85 timed modifier for the clout of the landowners. Oh boy. Oh boy. I think now we can start making some proper changes. The intelligentsia and the Heyman are going to be in charge of our government as a parliamentary republic for a while, and that also boosted up the wealth voting success chance by 20%, because the success chance is obviously modified by the clout of the ruling interest groups. So they got 20% clout and they are in the government, so we get 20% towards that particular legislation. It's also good because they've got a lot more legislation that we will be passing afterwards thanks to the intelligentsia. Now let's take a little bit of a look around the world, see what's going on here. Prussia looks like they haven't done a single thing since the game started. Let me check the power block. Yeah, they lost every single member of the power block. They're the only one left in their particular power block, so they're actually getting absolutely screwed over. I've noticed this happen a lot actually since I got early access. Not much changed. Hopefully the next patch is going to buff up Prussia, because as it stands they're not doing amazing, that's for sure. Metternich Spanish system is the same as it was at the start. Nothing changed. Russian Empire did expand. They managed to get Najd, and the British managed to get a little bit more nations around as well. They got Orange as well here. They're colonizing into Africa pretty intensely. And oh wow, Russia actually managed to get Mexico. So that's pretty much going to prevent the Americans, which are divided into the Americans and the Confederates, from actually getting a hold of these lands. It looks like the Indian Territory also is having a little bit of trouble since their lands are divided by Colorado here, which is still a part of Mexico. Oh, we got 3.5k research for pharmaceuticals. Don't mind if I do. As for action and reaction, we can make the trade unions join the anti-Russian association, or they get approval and we get relations decrease with the Russians. Screw the Russians. No, I'm improving relations with them, but I also want to get the trade unions on board with everything. So there's that. Okay, we're back up to 130 innovation maxed out. Technology spread still an issue. We're going to make it a little bit less of an issue once we stop being an unrecognized major power and we get rid of censorship, of course. But we still have a way to go until that happens. The great part about Japan is that we get a ton of military research from events. I haven't even researched directly anything in the military bit. We just got all of this passively from events, making it easier for us to catch up with the rest of the world from a military standpoint at least. We brought our construction sectors to around 200, give or take, which means we now are not making any money. We're not losing any. This is exactly what you want your economy to be like, right? You want to be around the zero mark so that you don't take any loans and you increase your interest spending, and you also don't have too much money and you just waste that money by not investing it in your country. It's a little bit of a sweet spot. It takes a while to get the right amount, but the best way to do it, in my opinion, is just to queue up more construction sectors until you're not getting that much money anymore and you're also not losing that much. In our case, we will start losing money because we don't have enough iron to sustain our economy and we're not importing anything, so we're gonna have to queue up some iron mines up next. And we just finished researching quinine, meaning that we can start establishing colonies on the western parts of Africa. So here's a little bit of a dilemma I got. I was looking back and I thought that I started actually colonizing this area, but I think either I reloaded a save in which I forgot to colonize this, or I just didn't properly click this, because Cameroon should have been Japanese, but it's English. So clearly I messed up somewhere. I'm not sure where. Too late now to reload the whole thing. So I'm just going to make up for it by investing a little bit more in our western colonies and Namibia and everywhere else around here. We also need to increase the amount of standard of living goods that we have to increase our standard of living. So the way we're going to do that is we hover over here, then we go to our struggling peasants and we see what exactly they're paying extra for. Looks like groceries, transport's one of the big ones, but they're not the biggest percentages. Clothes and grain and fish, that's the problem right there, and tobacco and furniture. So essentially I need to start building these three here, as well as some basic farms and everything, because I just don't have enough of that. I've been increasing my economic output and I've increased the construction sectors a little bit too. So between the government buildings and the private sector, we should be able to catch up with that fairly easy. We also are about to get public health insurance, which is great. We also already got wealth voting, and we're actually very close to getting civilizing mission. I'm kind of thinking to just take the L and research this with the ahead of time penalty, just so I can become a great power and I can form my power block afterwards. And I think yeah, I think that's going to be the case. I'm going to wait until I get canneries done so I can actually get some more groceries and then make my people happy, essentially. Also looking into Europe, looks like the British are the only republic, which is why they're really happy with us, because we're also a republic. So we have mutual ideals, as I like to say. Look at that, parliamentary republic, exactly the same like us, but they do have universal suffrage. That's something I would like to have myself. And they do have total separation. Most of our radicals are actually coming from being discriminated and from standard of living, actually. So that means it's primarily because our Japanese are still majority Mahayana, 18 million Mahayana, and they're getting converted to Shinto every single month. And these people are essentially getting discriminated, right? So look at this. If we hover over the peasants, we see the Japanese Shintos, they're happy, they're loyal. But the Japanese Mahayana, they're radicals because they don't like being converted. I could go back and switch from state religion to total separation or freedom of conscience, which would make things a little bit better, but that would stop the conversion process. So I'm going to keep with this for a few more years. Once I reach like majority Shintos, the radicals are going to disappear by themselves because they're not going to be Mahayanas anymore. And also we got our very first wave of immigrants. The Han have started arriving here. And look look at that. They're getting converted to Japanese. Their religion is also getting converted at the same time. It's a slow process, the immigration, though. It's going to get a lot better once we form our power block and we get the right principle for that, as well as when we increase our standard of living, of course. Another really important thing that affects the standard of living is transportation. So a lot of the times people don't realize this, but transportation can be a little bit of an issue. Not having enough transportation goods is pretty brutal. Look at that. In Kansai, we have a need of 209, but we only have 78 produced. So we have an increase in price of 75%. I've already queued this up, so once that's done, we should have those issues fixed. But it just goes to show that transportation has a major impact, not only on the standard of living, but overall on your economy itself. Perfect. Health insurance is here. That means for the rest of the campaign, we don't need to work around this particular legislation. This is the one we want for the rest of the campaign. Speaking of, we also kind of want to get elected bureaucrats, but we are still having budget issues. So if we were to go for elected bureaucrats, we would have a big dip in our unrealized taxes because we haven't built the government administrations, not as many as we should have built already. It is a work in progress sort of thing because we're going to need them anyway to increase the levels of our institutions, especially since now we got the health system. We're going to need more to cover up the health system level 1 and then to upgrade it to maximum, because the more level we have for this, the more standard of living, which is from all perspectives really good, not to mention the pollution effect reduction as well and everything else that goes alongside it. We've queued up a few government administration buildings. We're going to queue up more. I kind of want to just increase my construction to 300 now to make it a little bit more optimal. Let me check what is my situation. Wood is actually good. Iron, steel, tools are not too bad. Actually, you know what? Screw it, man. I'm going to do it. I'm going to increase it as we speak. So yeah, I think considering what I have, I can definitely get 4 more without completely tanking my economy. And seeing as I really want to convert my population a little bit faster, I am going to go for religious schools. I will change this to public schools at a later point, but for now, we really should convert people so we get less radicals from being discriminated, right? They cannot be discriminated if they're a part of the same group as our main group. And we also need to queue up some ports in our current colonies. If we don't have a port here, it doesn't get connected to the rest of our market, and as such, it's as if you don't even have this colony. We also got a lobby opportunity to get a defensive alliance with the French Republic. Now, even though the lobby gives us a plus 50 acceptance chance for that particular interaction, as we see here, opportunity bonus from pro-French lobbies, they're still not going to accept because of the ideological differences of our government and the French army power projection compared to ours. So we just need to build a few more units and then we're going to be able to get that defensive alliance with the French. I've queued up 10 barracks in Edo. We've got the arms industry now, so we can actually get the units and then we can actually be a major player in the whole world scene. We're technically like world 6 great power once we become civilized, and we've got like virtually no soldiers except conscripts. We're basically role-playing modern Haiti, right? Or which nation didn't have any army? Was it Haiti or Dominican Republic? I don't remember. Oh, 300 coal. Yeah, that's gonna need to be prioritized also. So let's go ahead and get a few more coal mines. I think the main issue is that I don't have dynamite yet. Yeah, let me see how that's going. Stock exchange. Maybe we should go for dynamite. Well, technically, I need to do mechanized workshops and baking powder first. I'm gonna queue these all up. We can still survive until we get dynamite. It's not the end of the world. I'm just trying to be as efficient as I possibly can considering my situation. Pro-Spain lobby. What? That is the most random thing imaginable. Okay, let's get some good relations with the Spanish, I guess. There you go. 300 construction sectors, and we're only on 10% minus for our economy, with the major one being wood, 14%. So that's actually acceptable despite being minus 900. Considering the scale of everything, that's not the end of the world. And we can quickly just get some more logging camps done. I think we can probably max out our logging camps. I'm actually surprised that there's no logging camps in Kyushu. Was that always the case? Is this new in 1.7? I'm confused. That's kind of the only reason why we should switch from isolation is to start trading with the rest of the world. We're not going to have enough wood. Everything else shouldn't be an issue, but wood's going to actually be an issue. Luckily for the Japanese, we do have quite a few iron provinces. We also have quite a few coal provinces and everything else in between. And there you go. We can get our very second company. Bureaucracy doesn't sound too bad considering how many institutions I need to start getting. Mitsui, however, is amazing. I mean, look at this. 20% industrialist political strength, iron mine throughput. We also get the company bonuses for textile mills, fertilizer plants, and lead mines. So yeah, I'm gonna go for Mitsui, which is also the biggest corporation in Japan. Even today, there's literally entire towns owned by Mitsui. Close to where I live, Mitsui owns all the hotels, all the the malls, all the hospitals, all the accommodations that you want to rent and stuff. They basically own everything. It's wild to me how massive corporations can be in Japan today. Like, you just go around and you see the company that built this is Mitsui Home. The company that does this is Mitsui something else. It's insane. Okay, I'm also gonna do a few rice farms around the entirety of the country, because remember, the whole market access price impact does affect us quite a little bit, and we do have right now again a freaking 1000 imbalance for grain. It's really not great, and I feel like this is a staple of the 1.7 game version. It's just grain is always going to be an issue. No matter how much you import or how much you produce, you're always going to need more grain. Hey, we finally urbanized Japan, meaning we got the Winds of Change journal entry done. We can now get urban center throughput for 2 years, or for 2 years loyalists from standard of living increase in our capital. I'm going to go for the loyalist. Always going to go for the loyalist. There you go. Now we can also convert stuff a little bit faster. And speaking of, I do need to build a lot more government administration buildings now. I'm going to check the areas where there's not enough tax coverage. So these areas we need to have enough government administration. So I'm going to queue up one in each of them for now, as well as I'm going to bring at the top of the queue by allocating a transport, because apparently Chugoku doesn't have enough market access. Oh, look at that. The British are guaranteeing our independence. Hell yeah. Ooh, we got a little bit of support for right of assembly. No way. Oh, I really hope this is going to grow. And what is this schnapps? Oh my god, bro. Seriously? I feel like 50% chance of assassination failing is high. I'm not saying that my assassins are horrible, but I am saying that I should probably just exile this dissident. Yeah, that's the smart choice there. I am going to attempt right of assembly. 11% chance is not the end of the world. We managed to pass migration control with like, what was it, like 12% or something when we started it. Fair. We did fail like 4 times before that, but still, okay? Oh my god, finally. All right, so now that we got the sewing machines production method, we're not going to be worried about producing clothes for our people. Same thing here. We can use fish for the canneries to make more groceries, or we can use meat. Either one of these basically produces the same amount of extra groceries, so it's a good idea to check what you have more of. Do you have more fish? Nope. Do you have more meat? We actually lack both of them, but we lack more fish than we lack meat, so it's probably going to be a smart idea to go for canned meat, and then of course also go for patent stilts to even out the amount of liquor that we're producing compared to the groceries. This is also going to increase the demand of glass works, which is awesome because we've got a lot of glass that we weren't using anyway. Because of that, we also have a massive increase of demand for fabric to be used in production of clothes, as well as a little bit more increase in a few other things here. So we're going to have to rebalance what exactly we're producing. Plus, we're going to have to scale back the amount of clothes that we're doing right now, simply because we don't have enough fabric to keep up with the input required for these textile mills. Fabric should be fairly easy to get though. We've got cotton plantations we can get, and we're just going to queue up a buttload of these wherever we've got a lot of population and not enough jobs. I think that's probably going to be Kansai. Then again, if we queue these up in the province where we have the textile mills, it's even better, and that's actually Kansai. So let me just queue up a buttload of cotton plantations in Kansai, say 13, 14 of them for the time being. Let me make sure we get these built right after the government administration buildings. And since this is a fairly easy to build building, as in it doesn't take too much construction sectors, I'm going to queue up a few more fisheries. We've got quite a little bit of a demand for fish anyway. By the way, guys, if you've learned anything in today's video, it would really mean the world to me if you subscribe to the channel. It really will encourage me to make more videos like these in the future, and it would tell me that I'm doing a good thing here, giving back something. I don't want you to subscribe if you're just, not getting anything out of this video. That wouldn't be fair towards you also, right? So just to double down on that, if you did not learn anything, or you did, let me know in the comment section what it was or what it wasn't, so that I can improve my video. Any sort of constructive criticism on my videos is always going to be welcomed. In fact, I've made a lot of changes with the channel simply because of reading your comments and figuring out what the majority of people want to see from me. And I genuinely appreciate you guys taking the time to give me that feedback. Oh my dude, we're number 3 when it comes to GDP, right after the French and the British, with the Russians actually being quite a little bit behind us now. Wow. Guess you could say that we're definitely going up in the world, aren't we? And we just discovered rubber in 2 of our colonies. That is actually awesome. Means we're not going to need to worry about rubber in the next few years once we start using it. I'm going crazy and I'm queuing up 10 and more construction sectors, all of the ones in Kansai. So right now, when it comes to construction sectors, we've maxed out 3 of our 7 states, starting states, whatever. And there you have it. We got right of assembly, meanings we can now try and gun for guaranteed liberties. Personally, one of my favorite technologies to go for. It is endorsed by the intelligentsia, so if we get the intelligentsia in our government, there's a high degree of chance that we're going to get that. What we really want to have, though, is protected speech, which is going to give 25 technology spread on the plus, but we do need to have human rights for this before we actually even try and enact it. It's also time that I restructure my government a tiny bit, so we're going to get the industrialists and the intelligentsia in charge. What this means is that the Shinto monks are out of the government and they're going to join the revolution to enact monarchy, but they still do not have enough strength to actually start the revolution, so we're pretty okay for the time being. With the brand new government, look at that. We can do a lot of changes in our country, including open borders if we want to, but of course that's not what we're going to go for. I am going to go for an open trade policy. It means I'm going to lose the 50% authority and I'm going to lose the taxation capacity, sadly, but I've been building quite a few extra government administration buildings and I'm going to continue to build them. With the new government, there's a lot of laws that we can actually change that would benefit us massively. Like interventionism is a huge leap forward, actually, and it has the support of both the intelligentsia and the industrialists, so there's a very high chance we're going to pass this out. Only people opposing are the Heyman and the landowners, but nobody gives a schnaps about their opinion. We can also go for an open border legislation. I might go for protectionism, actually, so I do my restoration of the empire journal entry, this one here. That's the only thing we need, and then we can go for interventionalism afterwards. Oh, hell yeah, we're getting 20% enactment chance and interest group approval. Oh my god, I love that. I also remember that I forgot to incorporate Sakhalin. I literally just remembered now. So that's a problem because unincorporated states do not get all the modifiers from our institutions, plus they don't get taxed. So yeah, should have been done a really long time ago. Oh, what do you know? Another 15%, I guess. Actually, I'm gonna give this guy a little bit of popularity because he is a protectionist, which means he's the reason I'm able to get both protectionism and interventionism. So I'm gonna make him a lot more popular than he's supposed to be. And we also have a petition from these guys: poor laws or elected bureaucrat. I might go for elected bureaucrats, actually. That should help out massively with bureaucracy, which means we can invest that bureaucracy afterwards in getting more institution levels. Since 15% less bureaucracy per institution, it's a lot. It's really a lot. But yeah, another reason why I'm going for protectionism is because wood. Look at that. Wood is a huge problem right now. I was going to stay isolationist for longer because I enjoy the benefits of it, but wood is telling me that you cannot do that anymore. Let's see if we can get an alliance, defensive alliance with these bad boys now. How is this going? Minus 80. What? Oh, wow. So basically what this is telling me is that they're not happy with the fact that I am a democracy. What are they? They're a monarchy. Oh, that makes sense. They're going to become a technocracy. Oh my god, that is the first time I'm going to see that for the Spanish. You know what? That actually kind of sounds fun. Do you guys want me to do a technocratic Spain run? That would genuinely be really cool to see. Like, we could just go, say, full-on technocratic, and we can try and get as much tech as, just literally rush for the technologies, form our own power block that revolves around technology and get all the bonuses for that, and just play tall technocratic Spain like crazy. I mean, tall, but we're probably also going to conquer all of South America just to get our colonies back. That everybody knows that's part of a proper colonial play of Spain. Come on. I mean, a tall play. Oh, damn. Okay, that is awesome. 72%, almost there. Da-da-da-da-da-da-da. We got protectionism. Yay. Let's trade with everybody, especially whoever has a lot of wood. Russia. Who would have thought the Russians have a buttload of wood? Everybody. Everybody would have thought the Russians have a lot of wood. Okay, there you go. That should fix our wood situations completely. And we just got the major restoration achievement because this is on my second Steam account. I already have that on the other Steam account. Now we have 3 options. A renewed Japan allows us to get some claims on Korea and some military research speed. We can also get influence, improved relation speed, and damage relation speed for 5 years. Or we can get railway building throughput for 5 years. I'm gonna go for the claims. Yes. I think the best thing we can do is just conquer all of this land, since they're essentially kind of the same culture as us. And more importantly than that, it is free real estate. Okay, that's what this is. This is free real estate. They are guaranteed by the Russians, and they're in alliance with the Heavenly Kingdom and a defensive pact with the Russians. So before I do that, how many units they got actually? 60. Okay, I'm not too worried about their units. I'm I'm more worried about the Russian units. I think before I do that, I'm gonna have to wait, modernize my army, and get an army, because I really don't have that many units right now. So let's queue up a buttload of more of these boys. France wants a trade agreement. Okay, I don't mind. Since I have that trade agreement, I'm gonna just import everything that I possibly can from France. There you go. Some paper as well sounds good to me. And then once we produce our own of these goods, we're gonna cancel those trade routes and get new ones. There you go. We're also gonna export some stuff to the French. Hardwood. Well, the French are known to enjoy some hardwood once in a while. Am I right? Since we are doing so much trade with other nations, we are now lacking convoy. The thing is, we also want to get some trade route competitiveness, so we're gonna have to build some more ports in order to get that done. Let's go ahead and build 3 more in our capital and then get a couple more around the rest of the nation. If possible, we always want to have the maximum bonus of competitiveness from the convoys, which should be fairly easy to achieve at the start of our trade endeavors. Holy mother of God, we actually have 87% success chance for elected bureaucrat. The reality is that with this particular patch, getting recognition as a non-recognized nation is a lot more difficult. We also have insanely high amount of support for elected bureaucrats. This is at 100%, so basically after 3 ticks, this is going to be guaranteed to pass. We want to pass this, but we also need to wait until we finish interventionalism, because that's also really important to me. We're getting less and less support for the enactment of monarchy. This was at 80% at some point. Now it's down to 59, so way better than before. There you go. We did from farm to factories, a journal entry as well, so we now have the ability to get some loyalists for 5 years from standard of living increase, or approval and interest group population attraction. I'm gonna go for the loyalist. I'm doing that because we already have enough approval of the industrialists. We don't need to worry about it too much. Okay, hold on a second there, buddy. So the British are building munition plants, military shipyards, and power plants in my country. What? Oh man, this is not smart on their side at all, and it's actually making stuff more complicated for me. So I think I'm gonna cancel their rights to build anything in my country, really. Oh, look at that. We got interventionalism. That's actually awesome. Cancel. Thank you very much, but no thank you. Let's go ahead with the elected bureaucrats. It's down to 89 success chance, but still pretty great. Look at that. We gained 1,000 bureaucracy from that one legislation change, so we can pretty much advance all of our current institutions to the next level. And now that that's done, we're gonna increase all of them one more level, because we'd really like to get all of these up to max. When it comes to becoming a recognized nation, we're really close to it. We are about to reach the 200 progress bar, plus we managed to get 80 relations with the British, the only other republic around in our particular game. Everybody else is pretty much still full-on monarchy for some reason. And yes, you guessed it, Prussia is still absolutely not doing that good. I'm curious how Prussia has been behaving in your games, guys, with 1.7. Have you seen it form Germany so far? Because in my test run so far, I haven't seen AI Prussia form whatsoever Germany. Let's also go ahead and make these bad boys here skirmishers. At least that way the ammunition factory that the British built in our country is actually going to have a purpose now. Wait, what? Sardinia, Piedmont formed their own power block. Ooh. Are we going to get an Italian power? Why is Russia's power block in South Sicily, bro? Seriously, why is... My bad, South Sicily. Did I just say South Sicily? I meant 2 Sicilies. Why are they a part of the Russian power block? And more importantly, when did they fully eat out the Papal States? I mean, what the hell is going on here, bro? What is happening in Italy, for that matter? This is actually insane. And the Russians are occupying Piedmont. What? I'm gonna toggle privatization on the paper mills in Chugoku, since I like to get the no economy of scale bonus reduction. Right now, we only have 5 of these owned by private enterprises from our country. The rest, 15 of them, are owned by the government. We need to even that out a little bit more. Ooh, juicy. Level 4, you say. Let's get these bad boys to level 4 too. Sacre bleu. The French Republic has recognized... Wait, what? The French? I thought I had my relations with the British, not the French. What the schnaps is going on here, buddy? Let me check here. Oh, they do. They got 100 relations with me. Wow. I mean, yes, France and Japan, bestest of friends forever, clearly, right? And look at that. We're now the 4th greatest power. When it comes to GDP, we're the 3rd, and prestige is the one that we have that makes us the 4th. We're above the Austrians, the Americans, but really, we're above everybody else except the British and the French for the time being. We're really close to catching up to the British for that matter. Even standard of living wise, we're better than the British and the French. The best part out of all of this is that we now have 75 technology spread, no more debuffs, and we got innovation 150 capped out already. So this is our moment to shine and catch up with everybody else. In order to catch up with everybody else, we're gonna need a little bit more troops, because we're gonna need to bully some some unrecognized nation. Now, the best part is that we can also form our own power block. There's a few types of power blocks right now with the 1.7 version. There's the Trade League, which is very self-explanatory. It's a customs union, and the primary principles you have as them are revolving around trade, internal and external. The internal one, which is my favorite, is company throughput bonus, tariffs, infrastructure, convoys, whilst the external one is going to make it so you have an easier time with your bureaucracy when trading, and you also have some competitiveness, plus you can trade without having an interest. So say you want to trade with the Americans but you don't have a common interest, well, not to worry, you can do it as of external trade. On the other hand, the ideological union is, as you could expect, an ideological union. It revolves around helping out with passing certain legislations. You can also allow forced regime change on power block members. Enactment time is going to be lowered as well. Power block legal synergy you get as well for non-block leader members. I'm not gonna lie, I kind of feel like the ideological union is, I don't know, not amazing. I guess the minimum legitimacy you get from this is pretty decent, but not that great overall. Military treaty, if you want to be a military power, sure, you can go for this, is pretty decent. Religious convocation is for very, very, very religious inclined empires. Sovereign empire is only available if you are a monarchy, and it's the one you're going to go for if you want to have a lot of authority. Every vassal can give you up to 25 authority, so you can imagine you can get thousands of authority from this. Or if you go down the exploitation of members, you can get a lot more authority as a percentage and influence and income from your block members. So it's up to you. Personally, I like the trade league. I'm going to make myself a nice little trade league here. My primary principle is going to be the internal trade, and let's also pimp out our statue here. I'm going to ask you not to ask too many questions about what this represents, or for that matter, what this represents, because you don't want to know the answer. All right, now we can form the power block. It's going to give us some bad relations with everybody else, and I just realized I didn't change my name to what I want it to be. It's not, of course, the Grand Alliance. This is Jenny from the block. Get it? It's a power block, and the name is Jenny from the block. Because the block is Jenny from the... And look how beautiful it looks on the map, man. Seriously, look how amazing this looks. Oh, I want to add everybody to it now. Jenny from the block really wants to get everybody inside of her. And probably has when you really think about it. Oh, dude, changing to publicly traded massively increased my income. I basically instantly got 30,000 more ducats from just one simple production method change. I should have researched mutual funds a little bit earlier, really. Oh, there you go. We overtook the French now. We're at 83 million, almost 84, and we're fast approaching on the British too. I'm also scaling up the amount of troops I got. That means I also probably should get some more arms industries going. Yep, look at that, 15. That is a necessity right there. Maybe I should start lowering my taxes a bit too. Better yet, maybe I should actually start ramping up my construction sectors, because I haven't done that in a while actually. Oh, and I forgot, we can do our power block statues now. That's gonna give right now 25% decree cost reduction, meaning it's gonna cost a lot less to have these decrees enacted, and we also get a little bit of prestige. Okay, looks like we've got a little bit of a rebellion in the north of our nation here. Gonna have to quickly deal with these Ainu scum. And we also reached the point where we pretty much have all of our current institutions max. We do need to get 2 more levels on education. Sadly, that means we gotta pass compulsory... Oh, actually, hold on a second. What is this? We've got a political movement for this. Okay, well, that is awesome. Thing is, we could probably pass this if we manage to get the industrialists in the government, but as it stands, that is not looking very possible. I mean, we could get 35% government. Screw it, man. I'm gonna try it. I'm gonna freaking try it. Let's go, boys. Give me that education. Give me right now the education. 35% chance enactment. Don't mind if I do, baby. Oh, so that's also because Hyoge Saigo is a reformer, so that really just piles up. Okay, that fixed basically all of our issues right there. With this passed means we can get up to maximum institution level for this. That does mean 50% Shinto amongst devout political strength, so maybe it's also time for me to get rid of state religion now and get public education. Okay, we got one more company we can get as well, so let's go for Kyushu Minerals. I feel like this is not so bad because we do need some extra coal throughput, and fertilizers need some help too. Looks like we did take a little bit of a hit with the government changes though. Can I increase this if I get the Hayman in? No. Okay, well, it'd be like that sometimes. This guy is hated. Oh my god, they hate his guts. nuts. Wow. On the bright side, we have officially surpassed all the other great powers when it comes down to GDP. Now it's time to surpass them when it comes down to prestige as well. So that means it's time for us to start expanding outside of our borders and just get as many provinces as possible. I've already recruited a few more frigates so I can do some naval invasions, and it's also time to increase the amount of construction sectors, seeing as we're already making way more money than we're spending. I love the foreign emulation tick, so we can either get some success chance here, or again some more success chance and we piss off the British, or the best part, we can progress the enactment success chance by 1, so we go straight to voting for the cost of just pissing off the peasants a little bit. Oh snaps, I don't have bureaucracy now. No who's off for us, boys. We got to get some more bureaucracy. Also, let's go ahead and gun for commercialized agriculture. That's going to be a big step also, because it's going to encourage people to be more on the side of the trade unions, and the trade unions have a lot of legislation that we would like to pass as we progress towards the end part of the campaign. Oh, look at that. Ethiopia almost unified, guys. Gojam's on fire right now. They're allied to the Egyptians. They got 6 million GDP and 8.9 million population. It would be actually fairly cheap for me to puppet them, and that's a lot of potential resources I could grab from there. Maybe I should attack one of these adjacent areas, conquer it, so then afterwards I can puppet Gojam, and maybe even take some land from Egypt too. Maybe the Sinai. That would be a nice entrance for Japan into the world scene. Looks like the only alliances that these guys have is basically amongst each other, so it wouldn't be too difficult for me to grab some land first. Seems like Lahej is getting no help from anyone, and Lahej still, after so long, has no units. Oh my god, finally we got steel frame buildings. That means we can actually start ramping up our construction sectors, and we also can do another 5 construction sectors in our provinces. Switching over to the steel frame buildings requires a lot more steel and glass, so before I do that, I will build some more. I'll queue up some more steel and glass, and I'm gonna slowly start doing it. So basically turn one construction sector in a state, then the other one, and so on, the more glass and steel that I get. Cannot believe we've got actual Japanese units invading the Middle East. I mean, we're basically role-playing America at this point, aren't we? Ooh, there's a situation in the south. Oh yeah, baby. Gibbity bobbity boo. What do you want to give me? You want to be my subject? Ooh. Problem is I cannot really reach these guys. I would be able to fight if Zulu actually stays on their side. Alright, looks to me like Zulu did decide to stay on their side, so that's pretty good, because now we can just do a little bit of a cheeky invasion here. So this sucks actual pee-pee. How do I put this? The British screwed me over. They attacked Zulu at the same time, and I cannot reach Orange because Zulu doesn't exist anymore, and I have to attack Transvaal Gaza now in order to reach Orange and actually win that war. So that's pretty messed up. And yes, in case you're wondering, I have to both conquer Transvaal and Gaza, and I cannot puppet Transvaal, so I actually have to literally take both provinces, which is why I now have 35 infamy. Holy schnagadongs. Holy actual schnagadongs, boys. Come on, I hope I get this done before Orange actually capitulates my current protectorate. Alright, we managed to get there. Beautiful. These are skirmishers, and I think they do not have no, they got irregulars and line infantry. Yeah, we should easily be winning these battles. Come on. Oh shit, what? We're losing? Oh my god. I actually might need to get some more units in that case in there. You know what, buddy? We gonna be defending. We gonna be real defending now. There we go. Chill for a while until we actually get some reinforcements, or this is gonna end up really badly for us. I genuinely cannot believe I'm getting bullied by a bunch of irregular natives here. Oh, we got Lorenzo. Hail. Wait, what? Oh yeah, that's ours. I was a little bit worried. I thought it's Britain's, because we got literally the same freaking color on the map. I was gonna be like, how did Britain even get this one as well, man? Come on. Okay, our troops are about to arrive, so that means we're about to get ready to push into the enemy troopers. There we go. Juicy Strombushchi. That's it. That's it, baby. Let's go now. Please don't capitulate, Orange. Please don't capitulate, Orange. I got a really bad feeling that they're gonna capitulate as soon as I get to the border with them. Come on, come on. Push, 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 push. All right, we're liberating. We're liberating. We out here liberating, boys. All right, we've annexed Orange. That means Orange is now our protectorate, so we can start improving relations with them since they are rebellious, apparently. Oh, and we can rival the Americans and the Greeks. I mean, that's just historical right there. Everybody knows the Greeks are the biggest biggest enemy to democracy and to the Japanese. I mean, come on. Because we have a little bit of infamy, we're gonna relax. We're not gonna attack anyone soon, but our next target is gonna be the Marina Kingdom, since this is where both rubber and coal reside, and we need a lot of both of those. South Marina alone should have about 80 coal or something of the sorts. There you go, 80 coal. Oh, we got 10 gold mines we can build up in Transvaal. Hails, yeah, buddy. You know, this preserved state religion movement would actually rebel against us if we didn't have all of our institutions maxed out. So gotta be thankful that we managed to get those done beforehand. I kind of feel like maybe I shouldn't go total separation yet, because I only have 36 million people as Shinto out of 50. So if I preserve state religion for like 5-6 more years, I could probably turn everybody to Shinto. But then again, I really need to change to public schools, because I don't want to get the Shinto to get so much power what they have right now. The Shinto church is basically the strongest one out of all the interest groups. So sometimes sacrifices have to be made. You really cannot just win everything. And we also started colonizing into the Guinea areas. What is this? Interest, foreign investment rights. Grant us foreign investment rights in their country. Okay. And British want a trade agreement. I think we already had one, didn't we? I've been trading with you bastard. I thought that I had an agreement. What happened, actually? Wait, so we now have a movement to preserve racial segregation that has more people in it than the one to enact cultural exclusion. I am so confused what to do. It's insane. I feel like the cultural exclusion is simply just a byproduct of all of these guys wanting it, but not actually the population wanting it. So, you know what? Screw it, bro. I'm gonna cancel this. Holy mother of God. I literally just instantly gained 1.6 thousand bureaucracy from having canceled that. That is insane. I think the best choice for me is to go for free trade now, since that's gonna allow me to have more competitiveness, and it's gonna allow me to make more money off of my trades that I'm already making a buttload out of, with engines actually being my main trade for some freaking reason. France is just not building any engine factories or some shit. I don't know. But I'm not complaining. You know what? I'm actually okay with the French not building their own engines and letting me build it for them. We got 25% of the landing progress, so we got 1 battle down, 3 more battles down, or 2 more battles, and there you go. We got it. Now we got 26 of these units, but we're gonna bring in the rest of the army, because we're also fighting Gojam, which has a slightly bigger army than Giletti's got. The end result, of course, is gonna be that we're gonna be puppeting both of them, canceling the slavery and the war reps and everything else. So we're gonna be growing essentially our power block. We need more members so we can start getting mandate a little bit faster. Right now we're getting super slow mandate because we don't have many memberships, and the best way to add members is to force people to join. Oh, okay. Well, looks like we have a few options here. We can either enable wage subsidies or regulatory bodies. I'm kind of in the process of getting poor laws. Maybe I can go for wage subsidies and then I can still get poor laws afterward, I hope. Let's see. How's that looking? 15% chance. Okay, well, let's see how it goes. Oh, we get an extra 15% from this one. Yeah, I'm down for that, actually. Poor laws is a little bit better than wage subsidies, because poor laws also means we get political strength reduction when populations receive welfare, so the poors cannot weigh in as much as everybody else can. We also need to bunker down here and just defend until the rest of the army arrives. Get out of my face, buddy! Get your face out of my woman's mouth. Wait, what? I said get your mouth out of my woman's face! No, that's not it, is it? Get your motherfucking slap on my butthole? God damn it, what did the famous Will say? I completely forgot. Oh, I remember now. He said, I'm gonna ruin my whole career. There we go. The cavalry has arrived and the natives are gonna get their asses handed to them. Thank you so much, Gojam, for unifying Ethiopia for me. I really do appreciate it. I cannot express how much I appreciate it, really. Yay! 2 vassalias. There you go. Join my block, you scumbags. Right now, we only have 1 agitator here, so we're gonna see if we can invite anybody else. We got Gao Peng, apparently, that wants to have appointed bureaucrats. Universal suffrage from Jushu. What is he? Radical petite bourgeoisie. Okay, that's actually not so bad. We have a lot of universal suffrage dudes actually here. But the thing is, we don't need any of them because we already have extreme support for universal suffrage. 95% success chance, so it's going to pass super fast. The great part about this is that once we have universal suffrage done, we're going to get significantly more royalists, which means we're going to get less turmoil in our states, and as such, we're going to get more income in the short run after we pass this. Our particular power block is not amazing. We just built this power block a few years ago, really, and we have very few members right now, only 4, which is basically our subjects. We're going to need to expand this, so in this particular part, we're going to start expanding. Marina Kingdom's likely going to be the first, Chile the second. I'm going to try and get as many of South America as possible, since right now most of them are not a part of any power block and they're not subject of anybody else. Then just try and weasel our way around the world to expand as much much as possible, whilst only directly owning essentially the Japanese islands, a few other islands in the Pacific, and of course we also own these parts here, including Orange as one of our protectorate, and Gojam, which is actually not so bad. Gojam does have 9 million GDP, 9 million population, and it has quite a strong army, so we can actually use them in our conquests in Africa especially. You will find the link to the previous two parts in the description below if you haven't checked them out yet. And there have been some major changes with the 1.7.3 patch. For example, advanced research now provides the education institution with certain bonuses. When we upgrade this to level 3, we will get an extra 75 maximum innovation investment, and ahead of time minus 25% penalty with technology spread plus 25. So it's going to be really good. We just need to get more mandate points. In order to get that, we need to have more minor powers or unrecognized regional powers a part of our block, which is why we're going to do a little bit of expansion. Another great thing with the more recent patch is that now we don't see the production method for invested buildings outside of our country, so it's a lot easier to keep track of what exactly we're using as a production method for our particular buildings. We do have some massive grain issues, we have some steel issues, motors, and so on. Some of these are easy to fix. For example, the steel, we can just change to the open heart process, which means we're going to get more steel as consequence, but that does mean we're going to intake some more iron, which we don't have that much of. Actually, no, I'm wrong. Hold up a second. I just realized we could probably change all of these to steel, because we can also get more iron from switching our iron to dynamite production method. There you go. That should actually cover most of it. Only 700 minus. That is really good. So that means that we have a surplus of 1.7 thousand steel, which in turn means we can change some more of our construction sector production methods to steel frame, since we have the extra available steel now, which also means we're going to be having more construction sectors, and we can ramp up our development and build buildings a lot faster as consequence. Another main issue we have is that we haven't yet set up our power plants, so we need to start spamming power plants around the country. That's not a major priority though, because we do have 2.1 million population, so we're going to do the whole changing to electricity once we have population issues, which we don't really have that many of right now. Despite only having the population primarily in Japan, we got a pretty sizable amount of immigrants, as well as our people fug. They fug big time, because that's just all Japanese. Look at this. Culture wise, we got 56 million Japanese. What the hell, man? Legislation wise, right now we've got interventionism, per capita taxation, so we do need to make the switch to at least proportional taxation. It's going to be a little bit difficult right now. Only the trade unions and the armed forces support that, and they don't have that much support, unfortunately. We're going to need to get the Common People's Party, as these two interest groups are called, in government somehow. So that's going to be after we pass universal suffrage and a few more legislation. One more big issue is that we don't have public schools, which we really need to get, since that's going to give increase in assimilation, as well as it's going to lower the political strength of the Shinto monks, which have a massive amount of strength in our country right now, and that's something we really don't want to see. Our declared interests look a little bit like this. Most of Africa, most of Asia is where our interests lie, and that's where we're going to be keeping this. I think we do have South America too, right? We don't have all of South America. We can change North Africa, for example, to Grand Colombia and keep it as this for now, because we did change some of those production methods. We have massive shortages of glass, so we have to start pumping up some more of these glass works around the country. Make sure we set this to domestic, so we only build this in our little provinces, and since we have already established some in Chugoku, we can add some more, make this up to 51 steel mills in Chugoku, and even Kyushu would work. Since we have 300,000 peasants in there, we can set up another, I don't know, 31 of these there for now, and temporarily we can import some glass until we actually manage to locally produce enough glass ourselves. Oh, what happened to our bureaucracy? Hey, something happened, something not great happened here. What the schnaps? I think one of our interest groups is not happy with us anymore, which means we're gonna have to build our government administration buildings up now, or we're gonna go completely bankrupt if we don't. So let's see which one of our provinces have the highest amount of tax issues, and I'll click a few buildings in there. There you go, 3 in each of these, and then a couple more in the other ones. Only 6.8 infamy in order to make a subject out of the Marina Kingdom. That's because we do have colonization, civilizing mission, and we also have multilateral alliances. All these technologies help us with conquering a lot faster, and as you can see, nobody would join their side because they're basically scared shitless. They're actually more inclined to join us. The French and the British are more inclined to join us, so if we really need them, obviously we're not going to need them, but we could potentially influence them with some obligations. They got 18 battalions. That's going to be a slaughter right there. Oh, they back down? I should have added as my primary goals banning slavery because they still have slavery, unfortunately. Let me check their domestic legislation. Slave trade, isolationist. Oh god, this is really bad. Yeah, we need to change some of these legislations for them ASAP. Especially isolationist is going to be really bad. Looks like we might have a chance of changing religious schools for them right now. So let's send that demand, see if they accept it. And they did. They're enacting religious schools. Hell yeah. Now that does mean we can also attack Chile now. So let's Chilium Skillium. Again, 6.8 infamy. That is amazing. And nobody gives a shit about Chile. But this time, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to be smart. And I'm going to set up war reparations as one of my primary goals. So even if they back up, they still have to give me that. Come on, Chile, back up. I don't actually want to fight you, bro. They did back up. Boy. All right, we got 18 infamy. Let's go ahead and improve relations with them too. We're gonna need some more influence points, however, so we might just cancel some of the trade agreements we have right now, or maybe even the defensive pact we got with the Spanish. I don't think I need that anymore. I'm confident I can just do everything on my own. I'm gonna keep the trade agreement though. Maybe we can get some more rivals to get more influence points instead. Who can we rival? Austria. Famous rivalry between Austria and Japan. Historical, of course. I was about to attack Peru, Bolivia, but then I realized that everybody would help them. Like, oh my god, dude, prediction is French, the Americans and the Argentinians would help them out. So yeah, I'm not gonna do that. We got universal suffrage, which instantly brought our radicals down by 7 million. That's half of the radicals are gone now. That is huge, boys. That is actually huge. Let's see what we can do here. We can get some more legitimacy, kill some people in the plantations, and get this guy as a agitator. He wants to have state religion. He is not coming in here as an agitator. We got a little bit of support for guaranteed liberties now. Maybe we can get another dude coming in for guaranteed liberties. I don't mind actually passing this, although it's not really a priority for me right now. We would have a small chance to go for public schools. I'm gonna attempt that, since that means we're gonna get more assimilation. Not like we need it, because everybody's already Japanese, but still. And we also get some, more importantly, we do get rid of the political strength for the Shinto monks, which we don't really want too much strength for, really. Now, this is actually an issue, so we're gonna have to, I believe, get rid of some of these consumption taxes, because right now our authority is literally only going down for the consumption taxes. Oh, that's a nasty one, because some of these are actually really good. I'm gonna get rid of the transport and the tobacco. Screw it, that's fine. We can still manage with just these two consumption taxes for now. We are starting to ramp up our need for steel though, so we're gonna need to build up some more steel mills. We got some in Kanto. We could get some more in Tohoku, and maybe Chubu's not bad. We can do an extra 50 in Chubu. I'd say 51 in Chubu for now, and we can afterwards privatize some of these steel mills so we get the throughput bonus as well. Because remember guys, as I said earlier in one of the other parts, the way that it works in the current version, the throughput bonus is only received as long as you have a decent amount of both nationalized and privately owned buildings. So we're getting a minus 43% throughput reduction because we don't have that many privatized buildings. So we could go ahead and click toggle privatization. It's going to give us 200,000 per level that gets privatized, and more importantly, it increases our throughput bonus, because check it out, we already started quickly selling these because they're really profitable. Because they are really profitable, a lot of our private investors are very keen on buying these bad boys, which results in directly us making a buttload of money from it, and also increasing our throughput. Look at that bad boy. We just need to make sure that we remember to cancel that particular privatization scheme once we reach the middle ground between nationalization and privatization. All right, looks like we need a lot of engines now, a little bit of grain. You know what? Let me check what the grain situation is. We could technically go for chemical fertilization tech, and that's going to fix all of our issues. I think that's what I'm going to be doing actually, but I do need a lot more coal. I don't know if I can still build some domestically. I can actually some in Africa. Hey, Benin is an unrecognized regional power. Maybe I should get them in my power block now. They're allied to Oyo, but they don't have any significant alliances, so this should be a fairly easy attack. Let's go 6.9 infamy again. Just to be on the safe side, I'm going to add war reps and ban slavery, and I'm going to make these primary goals once more. We're not making the same mistakes again. Sokoto sided with Benin. They got a pretty serious army actually, Sokoto, so let's check. Maybe I can make them a protectorate too for 19. Yes, I'm making them. Oh my god, yes, please, yes. Holy snap. That's basically 2 free mandate points that we're gonna get afterwards. Ban it back down. Come on, man. I actually wanted to fight this. All right, we need to find someone that's not gonna back up anymore. That's like the 3rd nation that actually backed up against us. us. I'm also selling a lot of my excess everything around the world, and I've got quite a little bit of excess, to be fair, which is also why I need to balance my shit out a little bit better, because look at that, we have a lot of wine shortages and stuff, which we should not have right now. Go ahead and get more of these wine yards in Chubu. Yeesh, these rebels almost managed to get our lands in South Africa. I didn't pay attention to this for like a freaking couple of seconds, and they almost got everything. On the other hand, though, we got everything we needed from Congo, which does not exist anymore. We fully annexed them so that we can start setting up some proper rubber areas here. Very rich in rubber, hopefully. Let's see what we discover. Well, no rubber, but we got some dyes in this one. Same here, and exactly what I was thinking. 22 rubber in North Angola is a freaking godsend. And another 25 in Bass Congo. So yeah, that's the thing. Like, rubber in the late campaign is the most important thing, and not getting your rubber really just means that you're gonna die out and not be able to compete with the rest of the great powers anymore. We got a lobby opportunity to get an alliance with the British. That means that we're gonna get a higher chance of getting that alliance because we get 50 bonus from the opportunity of the lobby itself. We are at -6 acceptance chance right now, so we can improve that by increasing our army political power. We can do that from budget, max this out, and then let's unpause, see what kind of a change that makes. Boom. Defensive alliance. Nope, that's not what we want. We want to go for the alliance itself. Didn't make a single change, really. Well, that means we got to get more units then. Check out how fast we're colonizing provinces. We're doing provinces in 50 days, man. That is massive. Obviously, that is because we got level 5 for our colonial affairs, and we can even get this more if we go colonial offices for our power block. So that's going to be the next principle we're going to unlock, of course. Well, what do you know? Another Min migration from the French Republic. Wait, what? The French have Min? That is kind of surprising. Oh yeah, baby. No more clergy power. That's a faux show. Guys, I'm gonna be honest with y'all. I'm kind of thinking of going down the Council Republic path. I don't think I've ever seen a communist Japan. I'm genuinely kind of thinking to click this because that is 48% success chance for it. That's a very high chance we might be able to become commies. That's gonna be both disgusting and very interesting at the same time. Maybe before we decide to go down that path, let's get women's suffrage first and foremost, shall we? 5.2 infamy for yet another unrecognized regional power, which again means one more mandate point for us. Plus, Zimbabwe is honestly some of the best lands you can actually have in this game. Hey, we got women's suffrage. Hell yeah. That means we got a higher workforce ratio, independence, enfranchisement at the cost of a lowered birth rate. But let's face it, we got 72 mil, so we're not doing too bad with our birth rate overall. Plus, boys, check it out. We have 16.9 endorsement for the multiculturalists, which means 13 right now because we only have the Heimin in government. Oh man, it's gonna piss off some people, like the Shinto monks really don't want to accept everybody. But let me check. What are my chances of actually getting this though? Let's also get the armed forces in here just because we can. And we got a new guy who's a communist. Oh my god, dude. Oh, that is actually delicious. That is genuinely delicious. Oh, 49% for... Oh, come on. Am I gonna go commie? Am I actually gonna go commie? I feel like it has to be done though. Since we have it, we might. You know what? We're gonna attempt multiculturalism. If we manage to get this, we're gonna go commie after. If we don't manage to get this, we're still gonna go commie after. Let's see what the situation is in North America. We still have the Confederates alive and well, and they're not doing too bad with the battalions. They got 200 in conscripts, 41 regulars, whilst these guys have 48 regulars and 400 in conscripts. Holy shit, that's a lot of army for the US. And they're growing in GDP too. If they actually unify, they would have significantly more GDP. It's kind of surprising to me that there's only 18 million GDP in the Confederate side. Well, it's not that surprising since the North is where most of the industrial heartland was in the 1800s. But you would imagine if they were to break away, they would start building their own industry, not just rely on the whole plantation thing, right? Mexico, meanwhile, is just doing amazing. 58 million GDP, 22 million population. They passed some decent legislation. They got laissez-faire protectionism. They banned this law here. They got... It's not too bad. It's actually not too bad. Decent laws. Decent for sure. And they're pretty strong as well. They got 150 regulars. They tripled their army. Holy mother. And they're part of the Russian power bloc, so they're not doing bad at all, actually. Russian power bloc, I think, might be the second strongest after the British one. And the Zollverein actually managed to get Sweden in their power block. Okay, that's cool, I guess. Better than the usual Prussia situation, which is to lose everything. Yes, guys, the historically accurate and totally stuff that happened colonization colonization of Africa by Japan. This is just historical stuff, really. We also need a lot more construction sectors. We should have like 3-4 times more than what we have right now, actually, at this point. Hey, baby. Kind of surprised to see, but our really rapid advancement in building shit has led to us having less than 1 million peasants now. We actually do have to start building our electrical grids and switching to electrical production methods, which is going to free up more of our population to work in the actual goods producing production methods. And look at that. We also are increasing our standard of living quite a bit. We are second after Radical Denmark. Radical Denmark. What the fuck is that? Is that a rebellion? We got less than a freaking rebellion? What? That doesn't count, okay? I'm just going to say it. We're technically first. No, the British are not commies anymore. Oh, come on. We were going to be commie best buddies. You're back to a monarchy. What's wrong with you? Radical Ausa is going to become our protectorate if we help them out. Yeah, sure. Might as well, I guess. So, skipping in a few years here, we're massively ramping up our economy simply from switching over to the electrified grid. We increased by like literally 200 million GDP, and we also got up to 91 million population because we did switch to multiculturalism. We couldn't switch to Council Republic. The revolution would have tore us in parts, so we cannot go Council Republic, at least not without destroying our country, so I'm not going to do that. I am, however, switching to proportional taxation since I have some support for this. That's going to give me a roughly 200,000 more instantly, and it's going to get more and more afterwards skills as we progress in the campaign. Getting some of the more advanced production methods like the telephone switchboards also helped us out massively. And a very important bit here, we are able to construct destroyers now, so we're going to replace all of our military ships with destroyers. Let's say get, I don't know, like 100 of them for now. That should suffice for the time being. We need to destroy all those frigates that we have, replace them with actual ships, because the British Empire is massive. Guys, I have to be honest with you. The amount of troops and ships that the AI is building in 1.73 is insane. I didn't expect this, but the AI is a lot more qualified. I think I'm going to declare on the British to get some of their colonies in Africa. That's not going to be easy. They got 480 battalions and 381 ships. And not only that, they deleted the old ships, so there's no horrible, like, starter ships. These are all destroyers that they got, or like high-tech ship. It is insane, my dude. It is actually insane. So that means I have to match up that. I have to double the amount of troops that I have, set up a proper army force, set up a proper navy so we can start some wars in Africa to get all that rubber that we're gonna need in just a few years from now. We're actually really low on rubber as it stands because we're using it for our production methods. However, we are right now at first when it comes to standard of living, so we're doing pretty good from that perspective, and we're slowly creeping up on the Russians when it comes to population too. Check out how many different cultures we have now since we allowed other people to migrate. With multiculturalism, everybody is an accepted culture, so that means despite having migration control, everybody from the whole planet can migrate to us. It's the same like no migration control, simply because migration control allows only non-discriminated pops to migrate to our country, and right now nobody is discriminated, so literally everybody can migrate to our country. Point in case, look at that, Siberians migrating here, Melanesians migrating, everything. I've had literally everything migrate to my country continuously. You know, it doesn't get more fitting than joining the side of the proletarian revolt of Burma against Burma and making them our subjects in the process. Even though technically we didn't go down the communist path, we're pretty much there, minus the Council Republic. Oh yes, baby, proportional taxation. We gonna be snowballing like nobody's ever snowballed before. Manchu, Yakut migration, everybody's migrating, I swear. Now we're gonna be trying to go for protected speech for the third time. We failed this twice in this part of the campaign, and I think we failed a couple more times before in the previous part. I don't remember, but I think so. So yeah, it's not an easy legislation, but if we do get it, that's gonna be huge. Our current innovation is 244. A good size of this is the increase from our educational institution, which gets the bonus of 75 max innovation investment, technology spread in ahead of time, because of our power block, which has the level 3 advanced research. And just want to point out, we're getting 97 million pops. That's like 25 million immigrants without even the principle. Imagine how many we're going to get once we actually get the freedom of movement principle. That's going to be insane. Everybody out there passing their protected speech in freaking 1860s. I'm out here 1914 passing maybe my protected speech. I'm not going to say nothing until it's actually done, because I've had so many issues where the last setback screwed me up massively. Obligation? No. What about if you become a subject though, Cambodia? Oh, you got no units. Oh, you don't want to... Oh, I guess you already are a subject of someone, aren't you? Yeah, you're a tributary of Vietnam. Wait, actually, hold on a second. Vietnam is my protected protectorate. Okay, so technically, I guess I own you, Cambodia. Afro-Caribbeans migrating. Oh my god, we are so multicultural, it's insane. I don't even know where Luo people are from, to be honest. You know, I was really thinking about this. It would be really cool if you had an option when you hover over these input goods shortages provinces, if you could just like click on a side button that simply adds one of the building that is basically having a massive shortage there. So like if you could add, for example, one railway in Zambia by clicking a button right next to Zambia or something of the sorts. That would be a nice feature. Hello, Brazil, my beautiful ally can... What? 92% chance they're gonna join. No fucking shot. No shot. Yo, Brazil is in the Jenny from the block, everybody. I knew it was a smart move allying Brazil. Oh my god, I think I actually spoke too soon. We got 2 setbacks on protected speech. If this thing fails, I'm actually gonna quit the game. Screw this, man. I'm tired of this shit. The RNG is stupid. Like, seriously, I passed some laws at 6%. This one is failing at 60 something it was, and it's got 2 setbacks already. Are you kidding me right now? Okay, really, what the hell is a Mande mass migration? Where are even the Mande people from, dude? I'm really starting to notice a precedent that the more you go into the later part of the campaign, the more the trade leagues become absolutely overpowered. Like, obviously, it's normal that they get stronger, right, as you progress, because people are heard more. Holy shit, does it scale massively. Like, right now, look at this. Trade unions have 26.9 allowed, and yeah, it's basically we got the communists in charge right now. It's let's say not the most Japanese way. I'm not sure why torpedo boats are seen as the better option compared to destroyers, but I'm upgrading all my destroyers to torpedo boats since I got that technology, and it says that it's the better option, so sure. Wouldn't a torpedo boat be a smaller ship? I don't know. I'm not really that savvy with ships, but let me know if you guys know in the comment section. I'm genuinely curious. We got some massive shortages of coal and iron, so I'm just gonna spam the shit out of this stuff. I'm also gonna build some of these outside in the British Empire and wherever else I have the ability to. Sadly, the UK is also struggling with population. What? It barely has any pops in the provinces that actually has the iron mines. Wow. I like how Japan not only has Mitsui, but it also has Mitsubishi, and both of them have bonuses for the industrialists, just to represent how Japan did become an industrial powerhouse extremely fast. We're gonna go for the migration attraction that we get from the oil conglomerate though, as well as the bonuses that we get for the oil rigs, because we're starting to use a buttload of oil and we only have 60 oil rigs, which is nothing. We're building some more oil rigs now, but we might need to conquer some lands for some more oil, because I don't think it's gonna be enough. Holy snap, 72 productivity for the freaking oil conglomerate is just insane. You know what? It's time for me to start munching into China. Around 1918, say historical would have been a little bit later, but yeah, no, we're gonna make the Heavenly Kingdom a Japanese kingdom. Oh, it feels good to start integrating all the African areas. Once we have these fully integrated, we're gonna be just living off of those juicy rubber plantations. I mean, we're still living off of that now, but I mean, once they're integrated, they're also gonna get all the taxation required and the institutions applied here, so it's gonna make it easier for us to keep these lands in control. We don't really have any actual rebels right now, because we got 27 million radicals since everybody from the peasantry loves us. Look at that, the trade unions, absolutely all of them loyalists. We have some issues with the richies, but nobody gives a schnaps because the richies don't really have much clout in our government right now. Look how many rubber plantations we can build right now. After I get these done, I'm gonna change all my production methods to use rubber, because we're gonna have enough for all of our factories afterwards. I mean, just check out Congo. Congo's got 35 levels alone of rubber plantations. We're basically building 200 and something rubber plantations right now. Let's continue to decrease autonomy for all of our fledgling subjects like Zanzibar, and now that we got the foothold in the Heavenly Kingdom, we can also start munching into the rest of the Chinese lands, especially since these are going to be migrating to our lands a lot, and we're so close to beating the British, being #1. We're just like 600 prestige away from them. Kind of stupid how prestige is the thing that decides who's the world's greatest power. It should be GDP in my opinion. The second that we got the Chinese also, our opium massively increased in demand. Is that a coincidence, or are all the immigrants from China just addicted to it and now we have to feed them opium? I think it's the second option, isn't it? It's Jover, guys. We got freedom of movement 3, so we're gonna get 50% mass migration attraction, as well as another 40% from the increased exchange in the arts academy and the universities. Plus, we also have the company bonus from the oil conglomerate, so we were getting a lot of immigrants up until now, but from now, it's gonna be just ridiculous the amount. Yay, we're number one, everybody. 5,572 against the British, who just lost another war, this time against the French, who have only 5,300. So we are the big dog, as they say now. I also want to make another little suggestion. If anyone ever watches this from Paradox, maybe make it so that the analytical philosophy production method, which makes it so you get more innovation points with less universities, unlock this earlier, because having this as one of the last freaking technologies to unlock makes no sense. Like, I get this would be really of massive help in the early campaign when you cannot have that many universities spammed around and so on, but in the late campaign, why would I even bother going for this technology when I can quite literally just build 10 more universities, which cost me nothing when I've got literally 700 million GDP? It just doesn't click. So either change what this gives, or if it still gives this, put the technology a lot earlier, like on tier 3 in my opinion. Replace it with this one, maybe. That would be a lot better. Just me. I'm curious what you guys also think in the comment section though. Albanians mass migrating? Oh, come on, really? Do we really have no migration control? I'm just kidding. I love all my Balkan brothers and sisters, except the Dalmatians. Everybody hates Dalmatians. Take a good look at our legislation right now and take a mental picture, because this is as close to the best types of legislations as you can come to. There are some that could possibly be better, like for example from proportional to graduated taxation. However, for us right now, that wouldn't be good because we have most of our industry is nationalized, not privatized, so we don't have as many capitalists to tax the shit out of. We're working on it. We started privatizing stuff a little bit actually now. And then interventionalism, of course, would be probably better if we go for laissez-faire, or for command economy. I actually thought might not be such a bad idea if you want to go down the full communist path, which also means you would want to go down the council republic path too. Also, speaking of, would be cool if monarchy and council republic both offered authority points, because council republic is pretty much like a monarchy, except instead of one dude that rules the whole thing, it's a council of dudes. And in case you're wondering, that is the actual historical term, council of dudes. If I'm ever going to redo this particular run as the Japanese, one thing I'm going to do different is I'm going to be attacking South America as soon as possible, because we only managed to get Chile and Uruguay, that's it. And obviously the alliance with Brazil, so they're technically in our block also. However, the problem that I have is that Peru is allied with the Americans, Colombia, Venezuela are guaranteed by the Americans, Ecuador is, I don't even know what's actually the situation with Ecuador. Oh, they got, okay, never mind. Yeah, Ecuador is going to be our puppet. That's what's going on with Ecuador here. But yeah, the other ones, they're just annoying as shit to get a hold of right now. Plus, check out how much it would cost us to get, okay, I cannot show you. It's like 34 or 35 and for me to get Argentina, which is insane, man. They don't even have that much GDP, 9 million GDP and 9 million population, and it costs that much. That's wild to me. So getting these lands earlier is going to be significantly less infamy, and it's also going to be less nations to deal with, because not everyone's going to have an interest declared in this area. Holy shit, I just realized we have 68 million loyalists and only freaking 60,000 radicals? What? No shot. Let me actually check my population. Damn, people are super freaking loyal, dude. That's awesome. See, that goes to show that having total separation and multiculturalism really makes a massive difference. Plus, of course, standard of living is super high. Look at that. Our lower strata is middling, prosperous for the middle class, and lavished for the upper strata. So that's actually amazing. And the amount of income is 9.3 average income for the lower strata, which is huge. This is actually one of my favorite runs in the recent patch, to be fair. But I do think I can do a lot better. I genuinely feel like I've done some mistakes, which I shouldn't have done. I also had some bad RNG. So whenever I redo my Japanese run, I'm going to try and expand a little bit faster into South Africa, Arabia, South America. Maybe try and snipe some colonies around a little bit faster as well. And if this happens again with the split in China, try and rush for it. Because now, after I took the Heavenly Kingdom, again, Russia proclaimed guaranteed all of these. England, France as well. France even managed to take a province in Suzu. So if I am to take any province here, I have to fight half of the world. And check it out. Russia's got 400 battalions. England's got 600 standard and 300 conscripts. And France has got 500 with 200. So that's wild to me. I mean, don't get me wrong. I also have 520. But it's hard to get allies. So that's where the problem arises. I do hope you guys had as much fun watching this as I had recording it. It was a really great run. And if you learned something from this, don't forget to subscribe. Would encourage me to make more videos like these in the future. Until the next time, have a great day and take care of yourself.